crazy interior. Check this out. We were a little fooled on this thing. What else it was doing before it got here? It doesn't matter. This thing is just going to be a game-changing, badass car.
Damn, Bill, look at that. Oh, man.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Because my shop sits on the same plot of land where I grew up on the north side of Houston, I feel like my neighbors basically grew up with us. Some of them even became a big part of our team like listeners. And today, we're giving a build back to a fellow Northsider.
Growing up as a little kid, I lived in the neighborhood. I would see all these cool trucks just drive by my house. First thing you talk about is, hey, have you talked to Bill? Have you gone to Extensive? Check out what they're building next. I saw this Ram. First thing in my mind was, I got to drive this over to Bill, lay it out on the floor, some big wheels. It's going to be awesome when it's done.
What's happening, man?
What's up? How you been?
Real good, real good.
I'm ready to see this truck, man. I've been excited about it since the day I dropped it off.
I know you have. The new Dodge, and that's the first time we ever got one in, with the new body style to put this thing on the ground. It definitely had some challenges, but this thing is nice, man. It's nice. So let's check it out.
Absolutely, man. Let's go. Oh, damn, Bill. Man, that thing looks sick. This thing's gonna turn heads no matter what.
This thing looks good.
This thing looks better than good, man. This thing is amazing. Golly, Bill. Man, that thing sits all the way down to the ground. You outdid yourself on this.
Hope you like your truck, man.
Man, it's a dream come true.
It's all the way to the floor like you wanted it.
Absolutely,
man. That thing looks good. There's a ton of work in engineering that makes a vehicle to day in and day out. We tore out all the factory suspension and just started over. We built new control arms, new tooling.
That looks sick, man.
Big 26-inch billet wheels with this truck sitting low. It just changes the whole look of this thing,
man,
right?
It's tucking that wheel like crazy, man. I'm surprised that you even got it that low for me, man.
A lot of work was involved to get this thing all the way on the ground like that. So everything on top of the wheel tubs all have to be relocated. So we went back and made nice brackets for everything. If you pop the hood, it looks like it came that way.
Yeah. Shoot, man, I'm going to be dreaming like a kid tonight.
I got some good guys. I didn't do it all myself. Lulu stepped up and really took charge of this thing. And he built most of the suspension components on this thing and installed it, man.
Bringing it to you guys here at Extensive, I knew it was in good hands.
Were you ready to ride?
Absolutely, man. I want to get this thing on the road.
Well, man, have fun with this thing.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it very much, man. You and the team. Appreciate it, man.
Have fun. Let us know how it does. The north side has been good to Extensive. Of course, we take pride in every build that rolls out. But it means a little something extra when you see that build driving around the neighborhood. Picked up a 1996 Impala for our customer of ours, Pete, and today he's coming by to figure out exactly what we're going to do to this thing.
What up, Pete? What's going on, Bill? How you been? Man, good. So you picked it up, huh?
It's a cool car, man.
Yeah, it is, man, it is.
The 1996 Impala was the car back in the 90s. Even today, they're highly sought after. Part of the appeal of this thing is it came with a small block LT1 V8, which packed a lot of power back in the 90s. I know you've been dreaming about this thing for years and years.
Yes, sir. I've been wanting to bring you a car for so long. I was about 8 when the car first came out. Just loved them. Everybody had them in my neighborhood. You kind of like grow up loving the car that you loved in your childhood.
So what do you want to do with this thing, Pete?
Really want to make this car a game changer. I want to have the baddest Impala out there.
That's why you're here, right?
Yeah.
These cars have been around for, 25 plus years, and, people have been customizing them for 25 years. Pretty much everything has been done to these things you can possibly think of, but I got a couple ideas. Of course, we got to get this thing really low to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
24s all the way around, but not just that. A 24-15 in the back of this thing. Just a big with a low profile, wide building wheel.
That's definitely going to stand out.
It's going to set this thing apart from every other Impala. You know, to change the game, we got to change the frame. We're going to cut the frame off right underneath the back seat and build it from there all the way back to give these billet wheels plenty of room to go up underneath the body. Man, I love this car too in black. It fits it. So I just freshen up the paint, freshen up the bumpers, freshen up the lights, the hood. Let's get rid of that cow hood, man. That was a rage, 20 years ago, but we can't have that now.
Yeah, I know it.
Inside, no interior to this thing.
Yeah, well, I ripped it out a while back. Had plans for it and just really never put it back in. I was thinking we're doing something one of a kind on the outside, but why not do something special, fully custom on the inside?
Man, I got the guys for that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
John and his guys are really getting this thing and just build you something just totally cool.
90s foundation, but with that 2021 look.
There you go, man. This thing's definitely going to be a game changer.
That sounds great, Bill. Let's make it happen.
This Impala was the car. This was every kid's dream back then. But now, years later, these kids are all grown up and want to go back and purchase their dream, going to be Pete's dream car. There's nothing cooler than that, to build someone's dream and to be able to present it to them. Pete wants to change the game with this car, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of most of the 90s modifications like the cow hood or like embroidery in the door panels. Just bring in the new style, the new look. The name of the game is starting fresh.
How to get started, huh?
Yeah.
Easy work right here.
Man, I've always liked these big body Impalas. Pretty much everything's been done one of these 100 times over, right?
Yeah, they kind of seem to look the same.
Oh, Pete, he wants a game changer on this thing, so we're going to do something different that I've never seen before.
This is never a good start. This equals a lot of work.
Always a lot of work. All right, first things first, let's get the rear end out of this thing, the exhaust, gas tank, and just cut the frame off and front and back wheels back. We'll build a subframe, and then we'll tie it into the factory existing frame.
Okay.
And then we're going to incorporate air suspension in with it also.
Oh, wow.
We're going to put 24 tires, so it's going to be
That's a lot of tire. So we're bagging this on the ground with a 16-inch wide tire. The rear is going to be what, about this wide?
yeah, pretty much. If you see this thing parked somewhere, it's going to make you pay attention, right?
Definitely.
Totally change the game with this thing. Narrow the rear end, super narrow to accommodate and get really low to the ground.
We're going to tub this thing all the way over to here and tub this one all the way to here. You can delete the whole back seat.
John and the guys in the interior, I'm sure they'll come up with something cool to fill in that little space there. We already got a little head start. There's no interior, so we can just get right to cut. If you're going to have a Impala, you got to have a black Impala, right? Just keep it black. This thing's a 96 model, so it's showing its age, of course. So we want to go through the outside of this thing, freshen up the bumpers, new grille, the lights, make this thing look good. Ready to do this?
Good. That's it.
Tim and Jamie are tearing all the suspension out and cutting the frame right behind the back seat all the way to the bumper. So we can build a whole new subframe that'll hold these big old 24 by 15 inch tires. Ready?
Go. 1, 2, 3. That's your rear frame.
Before we make room for the big wheels, Julio's going to take out the rear glass.
We gotta lose a couple of bolts that are touching the glass. After that, we're just gonna start cutting on the glass. This is not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be an easy job. Whoa, look at that. Mr. Bill, I need to show you something real quick. I think I know why they're giving me a hard time. recorded.
We were a little fooled on this thing. Back in the day, Impalas were out of reach for a lot of people, but we could get an old cop car for a third of the price you could for Impala. Just do whatever you got to do to get this out of the way, and we'll take it from there. Somebody obviously took a Caprice and tried to make it into Impala. Caprices were pretty much the exact same body style with very subtle differences, and one of the differences was the back quarter glass. The Caprice had a big triangle back glass, then this on the back. Caprice, Impala, shoddy craftsmanship, to say the least. You know, every build has a story to tell. Of course, some stories are just way more interesting than others. Oh man, that's definitely a bullet hole. In 10 minutes, we found out this thing isn't a real Impala, and it's been in a shootout. Bet that's not the only one in here.
Bad part or bullet hole?
Both. No telling what else we're gonna find when we start cutting on this thing, right? It's never fun giving a customer bad news. But old Pete, you know, he thought he was bringing us the car of his dreams. That 1996 Impala, but what he brought us was Imposta, a 1996 Caprice that looked like an Impala. I gotta break the news to him. Pete, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on, Bill? How's the car coming along?
We did run across a couple things I wanted to run by you. That's why I wanted to talk to you this morning.
Oh.
Yeah, we were picking at some bodywork, and one of the things uncovered not only a bullet hole in it.
I found a bullet hole in the car? Created that.
You know it. We also dug a little more, kept digging, and found out your car isn't an Impala. It's a Caprice.
Man.
Somebody converted it, made it look like Impala when it's really a Caprice.
No, that was the thing back in the days. Everybody was converting them Caprices to Impalas.
Right? Before we got any deeper in your car, I just want to make sure you're cool with that.
Of course, I prefer to have an Impala, but in this case, I don't see that being a reason to stop this.
You know, I totally agree. No matter what it is, Impala, Caprice, it doesn't matter. This thing is just going to be a game-changing, badass car.
I already know.
This thing's going to be way better than before. And the way better than before version gets really, really low on those big 2415s. Building a subframe just on the back of this car. So from the ground up to where the tires would bottom out with the air suspension, and then back down to catch the back of the bumper. 13. You know, so we got our side profile measurements. Only thing left to do is drop this thing down, get some levels out on each side to know exactly how wide the body is.
What's up?
Dude, look at this.
No way.
You know we found the bullet hole, right?
Oh, man, that's a slug from it, huh? Damn. I wonder how long that's been in there.
It's like a 9mm.
Man.
Well, we're hating been in the back seat.
It's been shot at. I wonder what else it was doing before it got here.
There ain't no telling.
Right?
Let's hold the level on the other side of the body.
Okay.
I'll hold it on this side. We'll get our measurement of exactly how wide this body is. Then we know how much room we got to work with. Right in the middle of the fender well.
Uh-huh.
When you let all the air out of this thing, it's going to drop way, way, way low. Basically, the tire is going to sit in the window jamb itself. So we can't be off an 1/8 inch. You don't want to have the tire rubbing the body, and then you'll have a big paint blister where the paint was heated up from the tire rubbing. This is 75.5. We got our outside dimensions established, so now we're going to come in from our outside dimension to where exactly the tire is going to sit, and we'll come in 2.5 inches. Then we know, with a couple subtractions, exactly how wide this frame needs to be. That's what we got. The frame needs to be 35.5 inches wide. We're going to be putting 24, which is huge for anything, much less a, Impala. This thing is wide. So that is outer part to where the wheel mounts, 12 inches. To fit the those big old 24 by 15 inch wheels, Jamie has to shorten the axle.
First thing I need to do is go ahead and drain the rear end before I start pulling anything else out. It's really important to keep all of the pieces right here together because there's shims in there. You don't want to misalign those shims because you'll start rubbing and wear your ring and pinion out. That's what I like to do so I know I don't mix each side up is I'll make a punch mark. 3 on this side, 2 on this side so I never get mixed up. So next thing I got to do is go ahead and pull this bolt. It's going to release this pin right here. Once I pull this pin, then my axle should slide right out. So the clips right there is what holds the axles in the housing. A limited slip differential is basically lets both axles move freely so you're able to turn corners without the tires chirping. Burp, 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 burp. Now this is out, so I'm going to take out 8 inches on each side. I'm scribing the rear end to make sure it goes back perfectly the way it was. So scribing it like that, I can line up my mark to make sure the brake rotors are exactly clocked the same way. So this is my last cut. Took 8 inches out both sides. Go ahead and bring it over the next side. Go ahead and weld it out. It's going on basically just like it came off, minus the 8 inches. I got everything squared up, lined up with my scribe mark. Basically, if this was out of whack, that would mean your axle would be crooked in there. That could wear out the bearings in here, the seals on the outside. So it's really important that this is perfectly straight. Everything's smoothed out. You can see my welds. Don't even look like they were over there before. Looks like it came like this from the factory. It's perfect. Our frame is going to be made out of 2x3 rectangle tubing, and we're going to lay that out on the table right here in exact measurements. Let's see what we got here. 45 degrees. Once we have our frame laid out on the table, we're going to make templates with our chipboard. Then we can take our templates right over to the saw. Bam, Timmy, it works good. We cut it 1 time and 1 time's on the money.
Now we have all the puzzle pieces cut for this frame. They line up right with the lines we made earlier. Now we have them all cut. They have these little birds on them here. What you do is come back, clean them birds off, and we'll put a little bit of bevel on each side, so it'll make like a valley for the weld to sit in. What that does, it'll let the weld penetrate all the way through, and you won't have a bunch of welds sticking up on top. It'll actually bend down into the metal, make it look smooth, and be a good, real clean weld that gets all the way through.
Timmy did a great job fitting everything together. Everything looks 100%. That's exactly what we want. The gaps to fit perfect, beveled, nice, smooth, 45 degrees. You know, starting out with a good foundation, always 100% key. You know, I've been welding a lot of years. So is my dad, so is my grandpa. My welding pedigree goes way back. Owning a custom car business, you know, gets a little monotonous dealing with phones, emails, paperwork. All that really gets in the way of my true and creating. You know, that's what I love to do, and that's what I'm going to do till I'm not around anymore. You know, Timmy, even though this thing turned out being a Caprice and not an Impala, putting these big old wheels underneath that car, it instantly becomes cool, right?
That might even be better than it's a Caprice. There's some cool Impalas out there. How many cool Caprices have you seen out there?
No doubt. If you're a Caprice owner or if you're an Impala owner, you're going to be envious of this. Keegan, you ready for the day?
Yes, sir.
You know, as much as I achieve personally, there's nothing better than riding to work with my son, Keegan. He pretty much grew up around the shop. He has his own hopes and dreams, but he's coming to the shop with me a couple days a week, you know, just like my dad did for me. You know, you're out of high school now.
going to college, just coming in day here and there.
Yeah, I'm really glad to, finally do something instead of, course, wasting my days away at home.
Hard work ethic, that's what I want to pass down to him.
You're learning, getting up every day, using that fire down in your chest. Set a goal, see it through all the way to the end, and do a good job.
No cutting corners.
No, sir. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Job one around here is making what the client wants. So we're going to turn this 96 Caprice right into the Impala that the owner wants, plus some. We cut the floor, installed a new custom subframe, and mocked up the suspension. So now Jamie's going to build the wheel tubs to fit those big 24 by 15s.
So you can see how big these tires are. It's a lot of wheel. In order to get this all the way up inside the wheel well, we're going to have to cut a lot of this wheel well out. So basically, I'm going to bottom this out. We can actually see what we need to cut out inside of the car to bottom this big wheel up in there. Okay, so you can see I'm using this wooden block to kind of give me a guide right here. Just a quick little trick that I use just to trace out the wheel well to get the same dimension as the wheel here. I'm using an 1.5 inch block because I have an 1.5 inch space in between bottoming out on my rear end. That's my little step to get it in there. I don't want to overcut anything. Okay, so I got these spaces right here, basically 1/4 inch between my tub and my wheel so it'll never rub. I'm gonna go ahead and set my wheel tub on top. Got them mocked up exactly where I want to put them. Go ahead and pull these big old wheels off and pull my sheet metal to the edge of the body. Woo. So you can see the size of these tubs, the length of my arm. What I need to do is go ahead and add sheet metal to my tub to bring it out to the body. Just keep adding piece by piece, trying to get my rear quarters in first, then I'm gonna walk all my sheet metal this way, and then I'll tie in the rest on the rear tub. I chose to do it this way because trying to do this in one piece would be pretty time consuming, so I'm going to go with quick and efficient.
While Jamie's finishing up the rear tubs, John's going to get going on the custom door panels.
All right, looking at this door panel, it only has one line on it that I really like, and that's the separation between the top piece and the bottom piece. We're going to keep this piece that matches up to the strip it, cut it up, and work off of that to make the whole bottom completely new. Step 1, cut it. Step 2, make it better. We're just going to layer this up, make this 2 different pieces, put some lighting in it. Alright, so I got all my pieces made. Start stacking it up. What we're going to do with this piece of acrylic, we're going to inset it in here so that all you're going to see is just this top edge of it here. It'll all be covered up. We'll have LEDs buried up inside of here. It's just to give us a little detail in the door and light it up. Got them all stacked up, so the next thing we got to do, body work, is sit down and start sanding. Pretty much, we body work more than the body shop.
I don't move very often. I just sit here and do several hours a day, body working days at a time. I have no fingerprints left. This is what I do.
While Brian's over there in his world of body work, doing his thing, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the bottom half of the door. I'm gonna start by making this base panel. Then from that base panel, we'll take our baffle and build that up from there. And get that chip out. All the door panels are laid up, everything's ready to go. So the next step we're gonna do, start laying fiberglass. After this, we go straight into body work.
That looks good, man.
Them wheel tubs come up high, huh?
Man, they are right there underneath the windows. That's a lot of tire to fit in there, but
Yeah, man.
We're making good progress at turning this 96 Caprice into a one-of-a-kind Impala. You know, John's gonna build a crazy interior in this thing, and it'd be real cool to be able to have the whole interior flow all the way back and have all this open.
How are we gonna do that?
We cut this out, and John can build out all the way around it.
You can see the enclosure.
You'll be able to see all that nice and open.
I don't think I've seen that before.
It's gonna be cool, man. There's nothing structural about it now, and so cutting this out is not gonna affect anything. Just cut right on this line right here.
Okay.
And let's get this totally all the way to the hinges.
Hey, let me
there
talk
won't
about-
be another Impala like this.
Nah, definitely not. So Bill just walked by and just glanced at this and just got an idea. It's pretty cool how he's able to just do that.
Removing the metal underneath the rear glass means you'll just see all the way into the trunk. All the custom box, speakers, amps, everything.
That's pretty cool, huh?
It is. I think it cut even more. Just cut this out.
Yeah.
I mean, the glass is right here, so
Yeah, plenty of lip.
might as well make it to there. You know, I'm always pushing myself just to see what would make a build even better. It's definitely a blessing and a curse because it always adds time we don't have. But man, I don't want it any other way.
Looks good. I'm actually glad we ended up doing this. Just looking at it right now, it looks so much better. It's unique. I'm really excited about this car.
We finished the suspension and metalwork on the 96 Caprice. Before we roll it into interior, Keegan and I are going to get on this exhaust. What's up? The last thing we got to do before this thing goes over to the stereo shop is exhaust. So you can help me do that and get you a little experience under your belt. Sounds good? This is cool. This is the lowest point. This shaft is not going to come any lower this way. We can put the muffler as high up as we can, super close to the drive shaft, and we're good.
I've been working here ever since I can remember. I've become really good at sweeping up floors and cleaning up around the shop and making it somewhat clean.
We have to go around this transmission mount here and then go all the way over and tie straight into that. We use this to give us a little angle instead of just eyeballing it.
It's always cool learning and working on stuff like this. Putting this exhaust together with my dad finally gives me a little experience under my belt.
This is what the angles we need here. Bend that, it should fit right on the money. You know, it's pretty cool to have my son up at work. Maybe pass down a couple things that my dad passed down to me. Stay on this side of it till the last minute when you can just reach over. Don't put your body on this side of the blade. It's a good feeling to be able to teach him a few things while he's here. But we build it in, that should fit on that perfect. Even underneath here, something simple as exhaust, you still want it to look good and
still
be
look
proud
good.
of what you do.
Of course, you wouldn't want to have a nice, beautiful car on top, and as soon as you put it on the lift, it looks trashy.
You did that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to work with your dad. Okay. It does that and it's tight. You know, I used to hate working with my dad sometimes because we get into it a lot. Always thought I knew a better way to do it, which did. Man, that'll work. Got a nice little flow to it. Everything's tucked up underneath here. You know, the last little bit is just coming out of the muffler around, and then we'll dump it right here.
Oh, cool. So you're actually not going to see them at the back of it.
That's all it needs on this. And still have a real nice tone to the exhaust too. You know, the closer you have the muffler to the end of the pipe, the more of a throaty sound. You know, this thing is super tight, so there's no way to really bend what we need to bend and make it clean looking. So what we'll do is use these manual bent pieces and we'll chop out what we need and just build it piece by piece. I'm not going to force anything on him. If he loves doing this, cool, but I just want him to come to work and learn a skill. Look at that. Little jobs like this and teach him discipline, work ethic, that experience he can use, you know, for the rest of his life. Cut that one. This is going to be on the very end of the exhaust. Saw that and then just make the identical right here. Everything's all mocked up, looks good. Everything's tucked up underneath there. Has a nice flow to it. You did good today.
So that's it. Thank you.
up to John and Brian to hand build that custom interior.
Back again to my shop. Straight up. Straight.
So here's my thought, man. What if we did 313s right here, mount them far enough back? It'll still give us the idea of that depth back into here, but we're going to have to utilize every bit of airspace. So the box is going to have to be modular. The idea to really make this thing a game changer is to cram as much bass in this trunk as humanly possible. So we're shooting for about 11 cubic feet of airspace to give us the proper output and a smooth bass response. Oh yeah. That's going to be pretty impressive from this side, man.
That does look kind of good.
I'm thinking let's do a window in the top of this thing. Right in the center, just something small, just so you can see a little bit of the motor structure in there, because the back of these woofers is going to be just as impressive as the sound on the front of them. But why not have windows in the back so you can see what's going on inside and show off a little bit of your hard work? Our pieces are probably going to have to be as wide as the bracing to hide the screw. So from the side, when you're looking, you don't see a screw sticking down through your filling. You can't just cut a hole and screw a piece of plexiglass to it. It takes a little bit more work than that. You got to have trim around it. You want to make sure it's nice and clean and neat. Short. We'll get that centered up, get that attached. If you're ready to start putting the top together on this box, we'll get all the rest of the pieces made on the back of this thing, man. We'll be good to go.
The four-door body on this 96 Caprice gives us plenty of room to build a badass, crazy interior.
We got the box in place, so what our next step is to make all the side panels and trim in over the wheel tubs and over all of the structure for the trunk.
Got some panels.
Do they fit?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh. What we're doing right now is we're just going to get the base structure in place. Once we get the base structure in place, from there we'll take chipboards down to the wheel tub. That way it'll all be one big panel that'll slide out together. If everything was planned out properly and Brian did his part right.
Why you gonna blame me for it all?
Better you than me. We got all our pieces in here, all of our chipboards done. So now we're going to go in and reinforce everything with some fiberglass and some resin. Once it's dry, we can pull it out, and this will actually turn this all into one panel from the top all the way around the wheel tub. Get it body worked on top of that, and then we'll see if it comes out like a glove. Watch. You broke it.
Not yet.
Well,
I forgot it was in there.
You didn't have to redo it. Oh, yep. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
So what I'm seeing is we got to put all this in before they put the glass in. It'll go in from the front side. These panels worked out good. I'm glad they came out and didn't break. We don't have to fix anything.
Yeah.
So all we have left to do is everything else.
When this car was made, the defining difference between a Caprice and Impala was that side quarter glass. We cut out a couple of pieces from an old Impala quarter skin so we can turn this Caprice.
So I got a piece from another Impala. It's actually the proper window piece. Something that I need to pay attention to is a gap right here on the door for the window. So making sure this is in the proper place is very key. I'm trying to take this thing apart as easy as possible. So I cut out my panel. It's loose in here, but the spot tacks are still holding it. So I'm just gonna lightly chisel in between to separate the panels. All right. I have these lines marked right here because my window's got to fit right here in these holes. So I need to make sure that it's on the money. Really what I'm focusing on is this body line right here. Looks good. I'm going to put a few tacks on it. Fit my window, make sure my window's good. This piece is exactly where I want it. My gap's even all the way down. That's money, man. We'll go ahead and continue welding this out. Kind of spread my heat out evenly so I didn't get any kind of warpage in this panel because that could happen real quick. Okay, so you can see we went from Caprice to Impala. Got the panel welded in there. Everything's ground down. Everything looks good. So now all we got to do is take care. First thing I got to do is go ahead and just cut out the metal around this hole. Believe it or not, this is not the first bullet hole I've patched in cars. I worked at body shops, restoration, stuff like that, and I've seen some older cars, you know, like Bonnie and Clyde, that have had bullet holes riddled in them. You know, it's still the real Wild West out here in Texas. So you see, got the bullet hole out finally. Got my other piece already made for it. Same radius. Same. Gonna make that bullet hole disappear. Take it to the metal doctor. Okay, so I got the bullet hole taken out, new metal put in, sprayed for a little body filler. Chain mess with Texas.
With the bodywork being finished, this thing looks even better than a 1996 Impala. Edgar's painting it in a classic gloss black. Over in the interior, John and Brian are wrapping up all their hand-built parts in black vinyl and blue suede.
We have a good contrast of materials in here. We've got soft vinyl, shiny vinyl. We've got our suede. We got a lot of depth and some dimension to this. Check this out.
Let's see.
Oh, that with the lights down in the bottom pocket of the door,
In the console,
in the trunk.
it's gonna look like a UFO at nighttime.
Just a big black UFO with blue lights coming at you.
I'm clear over here.
Come down, and then back. Now that that's in, just a matter of following the puzzle and putting the pieces together. Get all three of the sub amps in it. There's a glare coming off the top of this thing up here.
Must be nice to have a whole head full of hair.
It is. There's a little over 10,000 watts going in this car, so this thing ought to scream.
I never met my grandpa, but hearing my dad talk about his dad and how hard he was on everyone to get up, go to work, he definitely passed that down to my dad, and I'm definitely passed it down to him. You know, a lot of times I hated getting up, going to work with him, but now, you know, I really, really do appreciate, you know, my dad showing me the ropes. That's one of the reasons why I make your butt get up and come to the shop and, you know, learn.
Constantly learning, constantly getting better at anything you do is really important. No matter what it is, either sweeping the floors or working on my dad, I've definitely taken it no matter what I do.
Not only did my dad teach me a craft, but he also taught me how to be successful. You know, maybe one day he'll be able to pass down the tools for success. You know, put your mind to something, accomplish the goals, and do it right the first time. We don't want no kids anytime soon.
Yes, I know. I know.
Grandpa, yeah.
I know.
It's been a long time coming. Pete's been dreaming about this Impala since the 90s, and today his dream is gonna come true. Pete said you wanted something cool, wanted to set this car totally apart from all the rest. I think we did our job, most definitely. We changed the Impala game.
What's up, Pete? Oh, nothing much, Bill. How you doing?
Man, all right.
Got that call from this morning. You sounded pretty excited.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait to see it.
That car came in, it was hurting. We were throwing for a little loop, you know, halfway through the build, finding out it was really a Caprice and not an Impala. But where we're at now, it doesn't matter. Caprice, Impala, you just got one cool-ass car.
Let me see it, Bill.
Let's
Come
check
on.
it out.
Hey, where's it at?
Come on with it.
Damn, Bill. Look at that. Oh, that. Golly. Look at them big old wheels. Damn. That's exactly what I wanted. Look at them 15s. They all the way in there, Bill. Man, when I saw that thing go down and just swallow up that back wheel, that thing looked ridiculous.
How we do, Pete?
I mean, I'm still trying to pick up my jaw, man. God.
First thing you see, man, those huge wheels sitting low to the ground and the 2415 on the back of this thing.
Oh,
and in order to get it all the way down, we cut the frame off right by the back seats. It's all new underneath there. Air suspension, Now we were in this thing, a ride and drive better than a brand new car.
Didn't doubt, Bill, but I seen it as a heck of a project. But he did it. I've never seen anything like that before.
We went through this thing front to back. New bumpers, new light lenses, new everything. Clean, man.
Clean. That all blacked out look with the billet wheels just sets it off. And I love the idea of taking the emblems off. I mean, to me, it's not even an Impala anymore, Bill. It's a 2021 SS.
Somebody ask you what it is, that's what you're going to tell them.
That's what I'm going to tell them every single time.
And what was in there was just tired. Yeah. So I just said, John, here. Pete wants this thing one of a kind, and he wants it loud.
We got a total of 5 amps in this thing.
Wow.
Just on the subwoofers alone, there's over 7,500 watts. When it comes down the road, it's going to be quaking. Brian got down with the custom door panels on this thing, really went over the top. We have an 8-inch, a 6-inch, and 2 Pro tweeters in each door.
You turn this thing up, it will actually literally hurt you.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to drive it first or hear it first. God.
You can do both of them at the same time.
So all that's going on in there, check this out.
Oh, man. What?
Rear deck is gone.
I see that.
Bill cut out the whole deck back here. We got it all tubbed out. We got the clean lines running the door panels, all just flowing to the back of the car.
Got it stair step down on those acrylic pieces with the lights shining in through. So when this thing is going down the road at night, it's got a blue glow coming out of it. Looks like a spaceship coming at you.
It already looks like a spaceship on the outside.
Check this out.
Oh, man. What'd you do? Put a motor back here?
That's the engine to your sound system right there, man.
We touched every inch, front to back.
Man,
Not crazy enough?
I'm in love, Bill. Love at first sight. Thank you, guys, man. This is everything I could have dreamed of and wanted.
We killed it. Looking in this car, seeing all that blue, black, the lighting, the crazy stereo. I've not seen another Impala like this.
Awesome.
And still be able to haul all his other trucks. We're making one of the longest frames we ever made. New, huge 4-link and incorporate the gooseneck hitch in. We can top the line. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod is pretty rare to see one with a diesel in it.
Approximately 3,000 horsepower.
It looks like it's been an accident. The hood of that thing, man, is rough.
It had an exhaust leak out of the side right here.
We were just getting made fun of in the pits. Just needs a little bit of TLC.
Oh my gosh, bro! Freaking big car.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, it gets a little intense around the shop, so we've had dogs around. You know, Timmy confiscated Blue, so, you know, I decided to take my daughter, Presley, off to the pound to go get a new shop dog. What's up, man? How you doing? Hey. What you think, Presley? He's good size, huh?
Yeah.
I think we ought to get him out, check him out.
Yeah, me too. It's okay.
He's a little skittish, but
Yeah.
he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think he's a good shop dog, but I had my eye on one that I want to take home too.
You know, we got enough at home right now.
I mean, there's always room for one more. It's okay though.
I think we found our new shop dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
Butch.
Like Cleve or something.
Oh, Butch.
Cleve?
Butch. Come on.
You know, I always get excited seeing a new project roll in. You know, you always hear talk on the phone, hey, I'm going to bring you this, I'm going to bring you that, but, you know, it's never real until the project actually gets onto the property. And seeing this thing, when we pull it in on the lift, we know we're the first ones to cut up underneath this thing. That's a lot of work coming up, man, but we're going to make it happen for you.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it.
You know, we always like to push the envelope. You know, everybody's waiting to see what the newest project's going to roll out. This is just going to show everybody what the latest and greatest is. We put a lot of dualies on the frame. We put a lot of dualies, close to the ground. But this thing is going to be completely flat body on the ground. Just putting a brand new dually on the ground is going to have 1,000 challenges. But I want to create something just, one of one, something just totally unique that nobody's seen before and nobody's going to see again.
What we got here?
That customer just dropped this thing off. New dualies look good.
They look real good in my driveway.
We're going to put this one all the way on the ground.
So we don't need this no more, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
So frame on the ground.
Body on the ground.
Man, I always love when we put these dualies on the floor. They just look good. They look really good.
And not just that. Low.
Oh, no.
He has a couple other show cars that he wants to tow with this. So hauling 2 cars needs a gooseneck hitch in this thing too. The only way to achieve that on this truck, you already know. Old frame's got to go completely out and build a new frame bumper to bumper. And just cut off all the factory suspension. So you just bare frame rails with nothing factory underneath this thing. And we just start fresh, building control arms, 4-link suspension, and incorporating big airbags in place of the springs and the torsion bars that are on the front of this thing.
So is that all we're doing, or is there more surprising?
There's a couple more. We're going to upgrade the speakers inside this thing. But, we can definitely do better. Put some speakers outside this thing to really make it way louder and have the speakers actuate out and up so it just projects the sound even more.
Low and loud.
That's it.
Sound just like the infomercial, man. Well, wait, there's more.
On the body, on the outside of the body, it has the black accents around. We're going to pull those things off, slick them down, paint them all body color to really make this thing look finished.
You're adding a whole lot to the plate on this one.
Let's get to it. Now these new trucks are packed with electronics. So teardown is a huge job on top of what already is a huge job. It's super, super important for John and Tim to keep track of everything and where it came from.
Hey, what did this plug into?
That yellow thing on that little cover.
Huh?
The fender?
Did you say column boot?
It's a bunch of wiring that's going to have to be modified.
We take all the wiring harness off the frame and relocate that onto the new chassis. And if one of them don't work, you're going to have problems. Taking a car apart, that's the easy part. Taking it apart with the thought that you got to know how to put it back together, you got to know what goes where, that's the task. The more thought you put into it when you take it apart, the easier it goes back together.
I would much rather work on an older car. You can eliminate that. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need this. New cars, you can't do that. For instance, one time, we were missing one little sensor on the back of a truck to work, such as AC, windows, radio.
Everything on here runs something. If you don't make a full circuit of that, half the stuff won't work.
Taking apart a new car is like taking apart a car and a computer at the same time.
These things will almost drive themselves, back themselves up, back a trailer up for you. But all that has to have a bunch of wires going through it to make it work.
I would still never trust that, though. I'd drive it myself.
We're going to put the truck on the rack. Start disconnecting the rest of the wiring on it. I don't want to disconnect like an airbag and the battery be hooked up and then airbags start going off. We're putting a 28-inch wheel in there, and the wheel is going to come up right to the top of this. Everything that's on top of the fender well here and on top of that side all has to be relocated.
Hey, Tim, how you want to do these brake lines?
Let's just get it out of there first. Man, the old trucks, you had to worry about fuel, spark. That's about it. Where'd this go? Fuse?
Box, the battery.
Now, you don't plug this in, it ain't running right. You don't plug something else in, it throws a code, the truck goes in limp mode. We disconnected 857 things.
58.
858 things. We're about to finally lift this thing off the chassis.
The motor's like 3 foot tall, 3 foot wide, with miles of just wiring, hoses, electrical, computers.
We gotta fit all of that in a shoebox. You got your work cut out for you.
We.
Tim. There's only an I in Tim.
The owner of the 2020 Denali wants to drop this thing on the ground and still be able to haul all his other trucks. So like every other custom frame we built, we're going to make this to give him exactly what he wants. Wow, look at how far the bed hangs down on the sucker.
There's a reason you don't see too many of them all the way down.
That's it. You know, the center of our axle is pretty much going to be about right here. We're going to cut all this completely out and make room for that brand new frame, the big airbags, and the big custom hitch. I think we'll probably make this chassis out of 3x5x4 rectangle tubing. So this thing is super, super strong. So it can haul the weight he's planning on hauling with this thing. Let's get that measurement, you know, the wheelbase. That is 142 3/4. And then from the wheelbase back to the back of the frame, 40 1/4. And this thing's gonna be long, long. Now that we have a sketch, I asked Tim to lay out this super long frame with my template. And then he can cut it out.
You know, with this thing standing up, you're really starting to get the scope of how big this thing is.
We're looking for a frame that's as straight as possible. These have to be exactly parallel with each other, because if that's not right, when you go to do all your suspension and get measurements off the chassis, if the chassis is off a little bit, all your suspension is going to be off a little bit.
We're 1/8 inch off.
If that's not right, nothing else comes out right.
You know, I'm all about helping someone. So when the Diesel family asked to borrow the toter, I can't say no. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, bro?
What's happening, man?
This thing help you out?
Oh, yeah, big time, man.
Let's get this thing backed up. Get it.
We need you to look at.
I see the way they're looking. They're definitely up to something.
Yeah, we got a big surprise for Bill.
I think he's gonna love it.
You guys brought your Pro Mod? Man, what you want me to do with the Pro Mod?
Man, we knew you were the only person we let touch this thing.
Well, shoot, man, let's get it out. Let's see what you got going on.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
This thing's cool, man. It's a weird sound for a Pro Mod.
It's definitely one of a kind, man.
Right. This 57 Chevy Bel Air Pro Mod races in one of the fastest classes in drag racing. You know, it's pretty rare to see one running on a diesel engine like this one.
Originally, this car was Doug Winter's. He raced that car all over the country for years and won many championships with it.
Yeah, we had the idea, was like, what would be the coolest thing ever? Saw this thing for sale, threw the cones in there, approximately 3,000 horsepower. I mean, killer setup. Just needs a little bit of TLC on the outside. This thing would be perfect, dude.
Yes, he will.
Man, you know, we don't normally work on race cars or build race cars here, but what are you guys thinking?
Well, you can tell we got quite a bit of body damage. And my thoughts were, get the engine in it, get it lined out, get it running good before we spend the money on making it look pretty in case we had an accident or something.
It looks like it's already been an accident. We want you looking good at the racetrack, man, for sure. So what we'll do, go through getting these gaps lined up and making this thing look presentable. The hood of that thing, man, is rough, huh?
It had a blown Hemi in it whenever we bought the car.
Yeah.
And that's why all that's cut out.
In this case, I'll make an exception for a cow hood. This is the only time I'm going to make this exception.
We don't have the room to not have that. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not an option.
I think we need to update the wrap on it. I mean, it takes them back to the late 90s. It's like, dude.
Man, it was cool back then.
I mean, back then, yeah.
So you want to change it up, make it your own,
Make it our own.
and bring it up to date.
Yes, sir.
So let's check out under the hood of this thing.
Let's do it, man.
Man, you can't be having that.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, man.
Come on, guys. I mean, everybody wants to see what's under the hood of this thing because it's making such a crazy noise, and you definitely don't want them looking at that.
I know, man. That's what I was thinking. We redo that exhaust, make it a lot easier for us to get in and out of the trailer.
Definitely, we got to get you hooked up with that, man.
So, Bill, you think you can handle all this?
Man, Tommy, I can definitely do that, but I've always wanted to do a big smoky burnout one of these things. Man, this old diesel will do that?
Oh, yeah, but you want to do it right here, right now.
Yeah, let's take it out.
Please move out of the way, because we know when Bill gets in there, you know, they don't call him Wild Bill for no reason. I mean, this guy just cuts loose and everything. Get it up to 2,000 RPMs and hold it for 8 or 10 seconds. I gotta make sure he doesn't try to cut a donut in this one, because, I mean, that might get out of hand.
This can go straight.
Hopefully it does. That's what we want.
Hell yeah. Man, that thing's got some power, man.
I know, man, right at 3,000 horsepower.
That's crazy,
I'm
man.
telling
That diesel runs good.
Did he get it?
When we're all done with this thing, I get to drive it down the track now, right?
Yeah, man, why not? We can let him make a pass,
Man, I
too.
appreciate that. Well, you already know, man. We'll get you hooked up with this, man.
Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you, bro.
Looking closer at this car, man, it's hurt. It definitely needs some help. I can see why it's here, and we're gonna help them. You know, the one-way diesel guys, the whole family, I love them. They're down for whatever I need help with. They're 100% down. And of course, if they need some help with something, I'm 100% down. You know, I'm of expertise, but as metal work, welding, design work, that definitely is in our expertise.
Now, what is this thing doing here?
You don't see a Pro Mod too often in the shop, right?
Oh, ever.
You definitely don't see one with the diesel in it.
Yeah, I noticed down the side of this thing's got black soot all the way down the side.
Right. And it's just old and tired, and it needs our help.
So I wanted to look as good as it runs.
Absolutely, man. As soon as you run this thing down the track, they come back to the pits, pull the front end off. People are going to want to know, hey, what's making all that black smoke? Let's see, man, this thing runs good. Sounds crazy.
And that's what they see first?
They can't have that. We'll have Justin build a new exhaust system, something, you know, they can be proud of.
Yeah, you see Pro Mods all day long. You see the one at the track that's a diesel, they're gonna want to come see what was in it.
Exactly. They can definitely be proud when they're in the pits with the front end off now instead of trying to stand in front of it and block it. You know, after we get the body all straight and smooth, we got to design something that's really, really unique, eye-catching, and it promotes our business. So what I want to do is peel off all the wrap and touch up all the body work, make this thing look really, really good, you know, nice and straight. And there's body pieces missing that we have to fabricate. I mean, you see the hood.
So that hood's been through a couple different motors.
Yeah. The time putting a cow hood on something, you know, this is the exception.
You gonna drive it?
Hell yeah. You know, this is the first Pro Mod race car we worked on. And man, I love new challenges, and it keeps us fresh. To kick off this build, Justin's going to replace this old exhaust with something way, way cooler and works a lot better.
First step is going to be to remove the downpipe. You can see it looks like it had an exhaust leak out of the side right here pretty bad. And the reason for that is because that flange wasn't able to mate to the back of the turbo like it should. And from that point, we're going to see what's the best way to cut this flange off, because we're going to have to reuse this outlet flange. And then from there, we're going to take our new pie cuts that we have and basically build a 90-degree bend out of that. So with us adding the flex joints in there, it's going to allow this to pull flat against the back of the turbo and get a good seal. You can see right here where a lot of the black soot is. They had a lot of weld buildup. It was probably pretty difficult to make this weld, which was some of the problem. They tried to get in there with a grinder to get the clamp around it, but it wasn't enough to get a good seal. Plus, the amount of added heat that they put due to the weld caused the flange to warp because of how thin it is. So this table is a flat surface. So now that we have this flange 16th on each side, and that's one of the reasons why you were getting all that smoke blown out of the side.
It's no secret, I think some of the old ways are the best ways. You know, I just bought this big old lathe that's probably about 100 years old, and it's just in time. The old exhaust system on this diesel Pro Mod race car had a leak. So Justin's going to use the lathe to machine a new seal for the exhaust.
So what we're going to do is try to true this up, make it where we have a nice flat finish again before we start welding on it. Here we can see machine marks all the way around the flange. That way we know that it's parallel to our chuck. We know that our chuck is flat. Once we flip this flange, these two faces will be parallel with each other. Well, you can see the gap in it now, and things like a potato chip. So if I stop it, you'll probably see the two marks 180 out from each other. What we're looking for is a clean finish like we have here and 180 out. We want the same thing 360 degrees so that we know that we got a full flat surface. Now you can see the difference. We know that it's flat now. Since this flange was originally smaller and they stuck a larger pipe on it, you have a separation between the two materials. So I'm going to weld on the inside to tie it in, and I'm also going to weld on the outside to tie it in before I put my 5-inch pipe over it. So I know it looks like a lot of time and effort is going into this little piece, but this right here is the foundation for what we're building off of, so it needs to be right. Now that we got this piece welded up with all the holes fixed in it, we're going to go ahead and tack this top ring on there, get it attached back to the turbocharger. So we're going to need 10 of these put together to get our 90-degree bend. But we need to get it to clear this tire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack another 5 pieces together. That'll put us at a 45-degree pitch to get it to come out this way. We'll do a straight run of pipe and then another 45 to get it straight at the bottom, and then from there we'll come out of our fender. When you're making pipes like this, it's a lot of figuring out. You kind of just start putting pieces together and kind of see how it works and then go from there. Right now I'm liking how it looks.
Like dually, we're making one of the longest frames we ever made. So every quarter inch is really going to matter. Because in the end, we have to fit the engine, the wiring, all the computers back under the body. And now there's about to be even less room than what we started with.
What we're going to do now is center this axle in between the frame rails, front and back, exactly what we needed, so we can begin the mock-up process of the 4-link bars. The challenge here is we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room. It may seem simpler because it's a bigger truck, you think you'd have more room, but you got to remember it's a dually. Our outside of the fenders of the bed had to be narrowed, I think it was 7 inches, so that brings the frame in a lot more. So we're very limited on space we could work with to build our heavy-duty 4-link for this big truck.
Booyah! I'm bending the DOM to make a cross member that'll clear the extra large drive shaft. And that's what's going to hold the front of the 4-link bars. The truck's so long and it's going to carry so much weight, we wanted to make something kick back just to give it a little bit extra support and extra strength. So all that tube work is not only going to look good, but it's also going to function. Then we want to make sure nothing moves at all. Because it is pulling a spaceship, pulling a battleship, pulling whatever else. So they all want to be able to tow the most they can tow. For this guy to be able to put a gooseneck trailer on it, go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, and tow all 3 cars.
What we got here is one of our 4-link bars set up with the axle tabs, frame tabs. What we're going to do is set this up on the chassis and on the axle. Get these tabs tacked in place. Something like that. Typically we would put a bolt here, bolt a nut, hold these 2 tabs onto this heim, set it on the bar, tack it in place. But we're going to put a bar straight through both ends. That way we know these tabs will set perfectly in sync with each other.
John just wanted to say in sync.
That way, when you look at it from a distance, one won't look a little twisted than the other. You know, they'll all look symmetrical. And that's what we want, symmetry.
Starting to come together. into the frame with the 4 links. This is the bottom mount. We're gonna make support off the rear end of this, and this is what all the rear of the truck rides on. But we're not gonna use it as a flat piece of flat bar. We're gonna carry the pipe tube work, the theme through the whole truck. And for the weight this guy's gonna be pulling, and the durability, and everything that truck needs to do, we just felt better making a connecting back bracket from side to side. It's gonna be super strong. And right now it's kind of ugly. When it all gets welded together, it's gonna look.
What's up, buddy? So you're the new shop dog, huh? You can come hang out in the trim shop anytime you want, buddy.
You usually know right away if a dog's a really good fit for the shop. And man, he's turned out to be one of the best shop dogs we've ever had.
Come on.
Ever since Cleve has came onto the shop property, he's kind of acted like he run the place in the nicest way possible. But of course, my kids love him too, so we'll see how long it takes before he's at home permanently.
Happy to be out of that pound.
You know, you can always buy a dog, but around here, we like to give a deserving dog a new chance. To be a show and go truck. Not only he wants to win trophies, but he wants it to tow his other vehicles. So we're going to build an extra strong gooseneck hitch.
This is gonna be a support that's holding the whole trailer up. You know, we want to do something too to continue the pipe work through here. So we're gonna have a gooseneck ball, and then I'll start building the supports that go out to it. You know, even though we're making a show truck out of this truck, it's still gonna be a working truck. So everything we build here has to be stronger than from the factory.
Man, it's really good like this as is, but since we're gonna put a lot of weight on this part, which is gonna be the gooseneck hitch, I need a little bit more support just to be safe.
When this gets welded, it'll get welded all around. I almost make like a second gusset. You're for sure not gonna be able to bend this thing with tongue weight because everything faces down. You have to collapse it all down at one time.
Well, I reckon them some pretty nice looking welds.
Man, we're finally at the stage where this massive chassis can go back underneath that dually. It looks cool knowing that all this started with just some flat rectangular tubing and a bunch of... Just set it down.
Man, this right here looks very strong. Very rigid. It definitely ain't gonna budge. You and John did a fantastic job on this.
Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust for the Diesel Pro Mod. Now he's just tying everything together.
We're going to go ahead and build the detachable piece that comes out the fender. The purpose of this V-band assembly that we're going to run is while they're trying to load them up in the trailer, you got this big pipe sticking far out and it doesn't allow enough clearance. So with the V-band, it'll allow him to remove the exhaust off the side of the car before he loads it up so it's not sticking out the side. So instead of leaving this pipe hole where it's going to throw all the exhaust gases out on the side of the car and get all the black soot on it, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it up in here. And it's almost going to be like a teardrop shape by the time we get it finished cut. Then we'll go ahead and clean this up with a grinder for a little bit before I put it on the car. File is more of a real sharp, defined edge all the way around it and like kind of true it up a little bit. Now, not only does it look better, it'll perform the weight of the car on. It's going to come to about right here. They'll be able to reach into the fender, take this clamp loose, and remove this tip off before they load it in the trailer to make it easier for transport.
Before we can start on the body work on the Diesel Pro Mod, the old wrap has to go.
So we gotta come in here, we gotta heat it up nice and evenly. Can't heat it up too much, it'll mess up the fiberglass, it'll warp it. As you heat it and you pull it, it'll start stretching. If you don't take your time, you can peel that fiberglass and it just creates a lot of body work for the guy. You never know what you're gonna find when you start pulling off some old wraps from the 80s, 90s. People did things a little different back then. Such as right here, there's a big massive hole no one would ever even know about. But if we ever got a race car in like this that didn't have the problems, the owner's not driving hard enough. They're not out there doing what it's made to do. It's not a Trailer Queen. It's a race car.
Honestly, I just really take my time and make sure every little nook and cranny and crease has been peeled away and cleaned. I put up with those two all day, every day, so I definitely have to have patience.
Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. The guys can get on the spotty work here at the shop, and we'll come in, we'll put the new wrap on it, and we'll make it look real sharp.
Justin's almost done with the custom exhaust on the diesel Pro Mod. He's replacing the old steel pipe with a lighter, way cooler stainless pipe, all tigged up.
Now that we got our new stainless downpipe bolted up with our recirculation lines tied in, we're going to go ahead and replace this charge pipe. We're going to start from this nitrous plate all the way over to the plenum. This is a lot more than cosmetic. We're going to have a weight savings going from a steel tube to our now aluminum tube. And when it comes to racing, anywhere you can save weight is a big deal. So one of the key things with having a good weld is being comfortable while you're welding. That's why we come to the table. We're going to get a fresh pair of gloves, we're going to clean our wire, and then we're going to come back and drop some dimes. We're going to run the machine around 90 amps. One of the things with aluminum is that it's real thin and it absorbs the heat real fast. What we want to do is we're going to pulse with our foot pedal. So we're going to add some heat and back off some heat so that it has a cooling cycle in between so that we can add our wire, and that's how you get that dime effect versus a flat weld.
Edgar and the team, they can get right to body work.
As you can see, it's all chipped everywhere. The paint's ruined. So what we will have to do here is repair all these fiberglass cracks all the way around the body.
Man, this thing is beat up, but it'll be looking right.
After we screw our cowl to our hood, we fiberglass it to make it all one piece. So now I'm gonna spray some black on it on the inside to make it all nice and clean. The way when they take it off, it looks really nice. Alright, it's ready to be wrapped.
I got my guys finishing up the wrap. And adding new tinted window glass.
I'm looking pretty and going fast.
And this Pro Mod will finally look as good as it runs. After a lot of hard work, a late night or two, we're here at Houston Motorsports Park to give the old Diesel family their car back.
We are excited, man.
Super, man. I cannot wait to see it.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening, Bill?
What's up, Bill?
You got a good reason to be. Your Pro Mod was running good, but it definitely wasn't looking good.
I know, man. We were just getting made fun of in the pits. You know, when you roll up after winning a race and it looks like that, it's just...
Like, did you really win at all?
Exactly, you know?
It's rough.
We kind of won.
Yeah, I mean, we did, but we didn't.
It's been a labor of love. You know, we put our hearts and soul and a lot of money in it.
And blood.
To get it, and blood. Yeah, you don't get blood on it, it's not fixed right.
You ready to check it out?
Yeah, we're ready. Let's do it. We're so excited to see this thing.
Let's see it.
Yeah. Dude! Oh my gosh, bro! Oh my god! Did you see that? Is that the same car, man?
Awesome. Awesome, man. Freaking big car. We got a race car.
Man, I love it, man.
Oh my god, dude.
That thing is perfect. That's beautiful, man.
It looks like a brand new car, huh?
This is what I envisioned. When we got this car, I told them I want charcoal gray, black chrome.
It's very intimidating now.
That's what we needed. We need to make a statement.
You got the Bel Air theme in there?
Yeah.
The color scheme's perfect.
Oh, I know.
Exactly what we wanted.
Freaking beautiful.
Right. You know, the old wrap, it was definitely coming off anyway. I guess you guys were fast on the track because half of it was peeling off before we got it.
The guys behind us didn't care for that too much.
Spider Wraps guys came over and peeled off his gouges, parts missing. missing. Body shop guys did their thing, made it all nice and straight, filled in the holes.
Probably like 10 times more aerodynamic now too.
Yeah, we don't have all the holes in the hood.
Yeah, I know.
It's like what, I don't even know what to do with my hands.
You know, I'd make an exception this time on the cow hood, right?
Yeah.
On a race car, it's a little different. So it's all molded in now, so it's not
so clean
anywhere. You don't have big holes all in the front end.
Thank you.
Make it look good, right?
That helps us out a little bit.
Especially at high speed, you kind of want that secured on there.
While we got it up in the air, we pulled the wheels off, powder coated them, tied everything together. New glass in it, all tinted glass, so it just looks mean.
Those extra touches just take this car to the next level, Bill. Yeah, we love that.
And this has always been my dream, to put a Cummins in a 57 Chevrolet. To have that iconic car with a diesel in it that we can incorporate, our business, have fun with, and stay classy. I mean, it does have attitude to it.
It got a lot of attitude.
If people look at this car, they'll know it's a 57 Chevrolet.
When you pull up to the starting line, people are just going to already be nervous just by looking at this thing.
And they're going to know immediately that they're going to get second place that day.
This family's been working their butts off for quite some time, and I'm proud to say they have the full package now.
Oh my gosh. Check it out, man. It's perfect.
Awesome.
And the aluminum's a lot lighter, so any way we can save, it's perfect.
Justin is the man when it comes to something like this, and he got down on it.
Those pie cuts and those welds are just beautiful.
All stainless, 5-inch pipe. That's 15 inches of weld all the way around this, every pie cut. So there's 29 feet of weld.
That's crazy, man.
That's some time.
Yeah. That's a ton of work, but you see the results.
It's worth it.
For sure.
And he's got a lot cleaner bends and radius, so the CFM from the turbo is going to flow way better.
It's going to help us keep it nice and sealed and not have any boost leaks either.
Yeah.
While Justin was building everything, he put a V-clamp right at the end so you can take that rod off.
It's brilliant.
Definitely make life
Smart tripping over it.
Beautiful.
That's definitely it's an art piece.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
We can't thank you enough. You and the guys knocked this out of the park.
Well, actually, you can thank me. You told me something when you dropped this off, right?
Yeah, I did.
There's a reason why we're at Houston Motorsports Park, right?
I kind of put 2 and 2 together.
A little drag strip right over here,
I did say you could drive it, man.
All right, well, I'm ready. You ready? Your car ready?
She's always ready.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
A lot of people have been asking, where's Mr. Blue Dog? Man, he hit the dog. He's got his own bed, his own bedroom, his own toys. He's like a kid that came from nothing, graduated college, and now he's the CEO of his own company. Right, little buddy. Blue comes to the shop every once in a while now just to hang out. I'll bring him up here a couple of days, maybe a couple times a month, let him hang out. But for the most part, he hangs out by the pool on the swing out back. And when I get home, he just wants to hang out and cuddle. It's just like anything. They say that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, same with a dog. If you have room at your house, you'll never have a bad day at your house. Here over the last 5 or 6 years, it seems like when a shop dog does show up, he'll get attached to somebody. If you adopt these guys instead of shopping, they didn't ask to get put in the pound. They don't ask to get overbred like that. If you can adopt one of these guys, man, your life will be so much better and they're full of joy.
Pro Mod looks, a performance vehicle like this is measured in speed. And the Wells family is nice enough to let me make a run down the track with it.
Man, are you ready for this?
I'm born ready.
And I know you can drive. I'm just saying. This.
We're about to see, huh?
That's what I'm worried about. I was actually expecting him to be really kind of scary.
Did everybody explain to him this car goes straight? He's not supposed to do donuts, right?
Don't be all mad when time's quicker than yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's check this thing out. Getting behind the wheel of a Pro Mod isn't just turning the key and hitting the gas. There's a lot of things that go in with that.
We're going to put it in first gear. You want to see about 900 degrees before you floor it. Then we're going to start creeping up in the throttle. And once I see about 10, you get mad at boom. And then once we see the trees start dropping, as the last light comes on, go ahead and let off the brake. Typically, you're perfect. Go when you're ready. All right, let's see this, man.
Come on now, people.
Oh, okay. Let's pull it on. All right. Come on, Bill. Keep it straight, man.
already want to go again.
Oh, yeah! Good job, that was
bro.
awesome,
Man.
What a pass!
Good
What do you
job.
think, man?
Good job. That was awesome.
One way
How about that?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
How'd it feel, bro?
Man, that was cool. I'm really, really impressed with the diesel engine doing what it did, man, for sure.
They're pretty fun, huh?
Definitely adrenaline rush, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man. We really appreciate everything you did for us on this car. It looks absolutely killer. It's insane.
I mean, it's perfect.
It really is.
So we can't thank the guys at Extensive enough for this, and
It's literally a dream come true.
it is a dream for us, man.
You know, that's what it's all about for sure, right?
That's right, man. Family and going fast.
And looking good.
And looking good, man. Thanks to you. I appreciate it, bro.
Man, appreciate you guys.
All right.
Look what I got, Timmy.
Tim and John are almost done with the rear suspension on the 2020 Denali Dually.
What we have now is the front crossmember for the dually chassis. This is where the motor's going to sit. If we can connect the chassis to this front crossmember and connect the crossmember to the front core support, finally, this frame will be complete, and then we can move on.
Now that we got the strong foundation, we can drop in that big old Duramax diesel. We've been at this thing for a couple of months already, and we still have to make room for the big old notch and those big old wheels. Finish the front suspension. You know, on an older truck, making a frame this big would be the hardest part. But on a new truck like this, we're really just getting started.
This is going to be a real tight fit.
Fitting a watermelon in an egg carton.
For a Fury, I thought this thing was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap.
Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know, we're gonna chop it off. It's called a sling ray. It started as a Polaris slingshot with 3 wheels.
I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
No matter how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
Holy cow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You might have noticed we had this 64 Lincoln sitting in the lot for quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I don't really know how many.
Well, numbers off this thing. I think I got this thing sold.
Really? Yeah, I've been wanting to hear that for quite a while. It's one of those things. I bought it for a build, and it just never happened. So it never left. Man, I was beginning to think this thing was going to be here forever.
Well, it might not be going too far. I think our buyer is gonna want us to build it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It don't get any better than that, right? Make a little money on the sale, and then make a little money on the customization.
That is for sure.
These are always cool cars, man. I mean, the 64 Lincoln is just, it's iconic. Been itching to do some stuff to one of these for quite a while. There's so much you can do to these things. I mean, this thing's 20 feet long, and it's almost 20 feet wide.
20 feet of Fury, but it's more of a boat than it is a car.
You're right.
Maybe put some propellers on the back or something, take it around the lake.
Hey, before you get too far, man, let's make sure you get this thing sold.
I'm not making any promises, but I'm 100% going to sell this car today.
I like that confidence, man. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
Somebody just walking around Sunny Drive, these old cars might not look like much. You know, I wouldn't keep them all around if I didn't see the potential of what they could be. The whole trick is to find someone that wants that project. Once you have that, it's really satisfying to bring these old cars back to life.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, man, real good. Congratulations, you're the new owner of the 60.
Fantastic car. You know, ever since I rode in one about 25 years ago, wanted to get one of these, you know, a nice convertible Lincoln Continental ever since.
The one you bought is a coupe. It still has its top on it. You know that, right?
Can you guys help me with that?
So you wanted to make this thing a convertible?
That would be sweet, yeah.
Man, we can definitely do that. That'd be real cool. Just chop the top off, weld all the seams up, and just make it a convertible all year round.
All year round, yep.
Where are you located?
I'm outside of Boston, so we'll have to make sure it's got some heat.
We can definitely do that. How far are we taking it?
If you guys could do your magic and make it something really, really custom, really sweet for me, I'd love to, you know, have a really nice street cruiser that goes fast and handles well.
And we definitely got you on that. First thing, put a modern engine in it with a lot of power, reliability, just something you can get in, hit the key, and haul butt with.
Oh, I love it.
We'll put it on air suspension, big brakes, big wheels and tires. Make this Lincoln ride really good, handle really well, and you're gonna look cool doing it.
That sounds awesome.
Any preference toward any colors, anything like that?
To me, a Lincoln Continental, that vintage has always been black, and then in the interior, I think like a white.
Kind of like a Junior Mint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Frank wants this full-time convertible, so one thing we're gonna focus a lot on is the interior. That's a really, really important thing on any car, but especially build you something just totally custom and totally unique and just make this a piece of art.
All right.
Well, Frank, man, I know exactly what you want, and we're gonna make this thing happen for you.
All right, perfect. Can't wait to see it.
Talk to you later. You know, this job's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's really good to get this thing out of the lot, get it sold, but, you know, the other hand, I know exactly how much work is going to have to go into this. Every job has its own set of challenges, no different. You know, I'm really nervous. One of the things you dread most on a car this old, been sitting for quite some time, is rust. I mean, rust destroys everything. I mean, it's a New Mexico car, nice and dry climate. It should be pretty solid, but once we blast it, we'll know for sure.
Max, there's a ton of Lincolns, ton of them been done. What are we going to do that's going to be different?
It's not what we're doing, it's what aren't we doing. You know, I definitely got a couple concerns on this thing. First, you see the rust going through on the hood and trunk lid, right? That's definitely not going to bust. Looks pretty solid, but we won't know until we get it blasted. You know, the next thing, engine out of this thing is going to have brand new power plant. Yeah, we want that Cody in here. Put the Ford engine with the Ford body. Very cool. You know, keep it all legit. As far as the interior, everything completely out. We're going to start fresh on that. We really want to focus on the interior too, because there's not going to be a top on it.
Where is the top going?
The top's going in the scrap bin. We're just totally roastering, cutting the roof completely off this thing, taking all the glass out and capping the doors and the deck lid. 100% no top all the time. That's awesome. You know we got to make this thing low to the ground. Get this thing on air suspension, get it all the way on the ground, freshen everything up. 24x8s in the front, 24x10s in the back, new brakes, ball joints, everything. Start 100% fresh.
Tell me we're going black.
You know, I totally agree with Frank. This car just needs to be black. Not just a normal black, not just a deep black. We're going to give it something that wakes it up a little bit. It's going to be cool. You know, the chrome just really makes this car. I mean, we definitely need to keep this on it.
I think it's mostly here.
Yeah, I think it's all here. Re-chrome the bumpers, grill. Man, it really stand out against that black. Awesome. First things first is getting some totally stripped.
We'll get some people. We'll get started.
I'm gonna go get a bunch of parts.
Ready?
Ready?
We'll take the trunk off and the lid off. I'll go get John, take all the interior out. Hey, we got the trunk out. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. It didn't look as bad as I thought. When John gets the carpet out, it's going to be a telltale sign to see how the floor looks in this thing. One of the challenges with these old cars is everything's stripped out, everything's rusted, nothing really wants to come apart. So a lot of times you just got to turn the bolts into liquid. Just stuck to the floor. It's still standing here. That's a plus. Surprisingly, it looks really good. This floor could have been a whole lot worse. We're going to take all the 1964 on this car. We're going to make everything modern, make everything handle better, drive better, stop better. So to do that, we need a clean slate. We're going to take all this old stuff, get it out of here. So now we get it blasted, it's going to be a fresh new start. We won't have to deal with 60 years of dirt, grease, grime. We can weld right to it, and we know it's ready to go. Now go up. Up. Go.
Go down. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Whew. It was a lot, dirty work, but we finally got this thing all stripped down. The next big surprise is going to be when it comes back from blast.
Depending on how backed up the media blaster is, sometimes a project can take up to 2 weeks to come back. But other times, like in this case, it's the next day.
That came back from blast. That side doesn't look as bad. I want you to look at this side. It looks a lot rougher than when it left. Especially, I don't know what's going on here. You speechless?
Man, I thought this thing, was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap, right?
The paint was all faded. You would think over time you'd start to see stuff coming back through it, but it was well hidden.
Man, very well. The other side looks decent. The floorboards look decent. Everything underneath looks good.
Yep. Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know. The roof looks really good. We're going to chop it off. Well, we got to do what we got to do now. We're already too deep in this thing to do anything about it, so we'll just replace the fender. Probably going to replace the quarter. Let's get it. You always hate it when a car comes back from media blast and it's in worse shape from what you thought. The 1964 Lincoln is a lot worse. Luckily, Max sourced some old replacement panels. That way Jamie can get busy and get them replaced.
This thing's pretty much beyond repair. I mean, all the Swiss cheese down here, these ripples into the door jamb, and then we come to the front right here. This is pretty much the same story. It's too far gone. We don't want to put any metal like that back. So best thing to do, go ahead and cut this off, skin this with a new fender, and send it back to the body shop. Let's get started.
All these little indentions are spot tags. I have to drill everyone out.
So cue the time lapse. Spot tacks are just about out, so we'll go ahead and score a line right next to this door to make it easier to go ahead and get these leftover spot tacks out. Just a quick cut with a cutoff wheel, and we'll have this panel off. This was on another car a week ago. Just an old 64, 65 fender. I always like to use original parts instead of like a repop. The new metal is a little bit thinner, the old metal is a little bit thicker and stronger. On this panel, there's a chrome trim piece right here. If I don't bleed even, you'll see a gap on the chrome. So it's really important that I clamp everything right where it needs to go. In the old days, this is how they did it with the spot tags. Nowadays, they glue panels together. I mean, I don't know. I've seen glue come apart, so you'll never catch me using a glue gun. It's always going to be a welder. Okay, that one's in. Everything looks good. Go ahead and move on to the back now. I look up, I've been wanting to see this thing for quite some time. It's called a sling ray. It rolled into SEMA a couple years ago. And man, people haven't stopped talking about it since. Tim, what's happening?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, all right. Man, I finally get to see this thing in person.
Sure do, man. What do you think of it?
Man, it's crazy. But finally seeing this thing in person, it's amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. It started as a Polaris slingshot, which is an auto cycle with 3 wheels.
We basically turned it into a 4-wheel conversion instead of 3 like the typical.
That's unbelievable.
Dropped it in LS3 with a stage 2 Whipple. And of course, we did this crazy exoskeleton to match Corvette ZR1. 650 plus horsepower, a huge sound system in it, and it's all on air ride.
Crazy.
Big adult go-kart.
This is the kind of thinking that I like, just totally out of the box. So what brings you by, man?
A couple little things that, when I got the car back, basically just weren't complete. I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
I totally get it. No matter how cool, how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
The engine bay over there, there's a lot where you can see the wiring and everything else, you know, that we needed like some kind of like sheet metal or something, that cool cover plate.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Big void right here. You can build a sheet metal panel, give it some bead rolling, make it look really nice. And the filter, man, yeah, it definitely needs something else on there for sure.
Started on the filter. I can always tell who the haters are, because that's the first thing they talk about every time they look at this car. Everything else in this car is completely custom, so I think that should be too.
I might just have to test drive this thing, you know, personally, and just make sure the suspension is right, the engine's performing right, you know. Just make sure everything's right for you.
Of course, man, whatever you got to
look out for you.
Oh, I know you're looking out for me. I'm sure you want to take it for a spin to get that, get the feel for those compartments.
Yeah, I just got to make sure, you know.
Oh yeah, I totally get it, man. Of course, take it for a spin.
You know, looking at this, it's just a tease.
Man, I've been seeing this thing on the internet. I didn't think I'd see it in person.
Come on, man, let's go check it out. When you see a car like this, a vehicle like this, you gotta get behind the wheel and just feel it. This thing is great to drive. Handles good, rides good. It's got unbelievable amount of power. That's exactly what you want, you know, driving something like this. I can totally understand the obsession of getting this thing 100% right and 100% finished. Everywhere you go, it draws a huge crowd. Everybody wants to talk to you about it. What I'm to ask is, how come this isn't finished right here? When we're done with this, there's not going to be a reason for that guy to say one word.
So what are we doing to this thing?
You know, everything that's been done to this thing, which is everything.
Yeah.
Once you have a project done like this, there's always that 1 or 2 or 10 things that you see that nobody else sees. Once you see those things, you can't unsee it. You're just fixated on it until it's fixed. Of course, one of the things is the air filter. This thing is way too cool to have something that uncool on it. The next thing, it's got a couple little pockets in the front, little factory little voids where you see down in it, just looks unfinished. We're going to fabricate custom panels on both sides of the engine to hide all that wiring. And then we'll color match them with two-tone paint.
Clean it up real good?
Yeah. You know, it's really cool to get a project like this in the shop, even though we didn't build it. It's good to be a part of it. It goes without saying, because you can see right into the engine. The look of the covers are fine, so to go over with the overall flow of the sling ray. Basically, I'm starting with a blank chipboard. And I'm going to scratch out a couple designs, see if I can get some things to work and fit around these areas, make it something you want to look at instead of something you look away from. I'm just getting a rough outline. I'm going to see how I can tie everything in together to hide as much of these wires and these canisters as I can, because it's not very nice to look at. It's time consuming, but it's definitely necessary. See how much better it ties in already? That's already looking a lot better. You can see it's not just a flat piece of metal. It's got a lot of shapes and bends and contours. It's busy. I'm gonna have a lot of little tricky details on this one little panel, and I also have to duplicate this to the other side, which makes it even harder. For most car guys, the sling ray is almost a perfect build. But even then, there's always one more thing. So right now, Jamie's making some custom panels to hide all that wiring. So now I got all my pieces right here. Taking the tape off, kind of just breaking them down into flat panels. Try to space put them wherever. Once I do that, go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll start shaping it. So rather than making another template for the other side, go ahead and make my template out of the copies that I just cut out. Oh, it'll just be mirrored, flipped. That'll be my other side. So this is my passenger side, this is my driver's side, this is the side I made my template from. So I'm gonna take my template, mark both panels out at once so they're exactly the same. I put the same bins, the same roll, everything in it at the same time. All right, let's cross fingers. Take your time to do this.
You can't just rush this. This has to be planned out. One wrong bend and you might as well throw the panel away. You can look at it right now and see that everything's exactly the same contour, but my bend right here connects right to my bend right there. This first one, now just a couple more left to go. Pretty happy with the shape. I'm ready to tack everything up. Pretty happy with the way this is starting to look. So all I need to do is mirror the other side, then I can continue on forming on this piece around the edge.
We made real progress on the suspension for the 64 Lincoln. We tied the two links directly into the existing unibody.
How's your chain link look? Parallel or what?
Looks pretty close right here.
We're buttoning up the bag mounts, and then we're moving on to turning this into a roadster.
Go ahead and tack it on the corner, just like you did on the other side.
You know, being here at Extensive working on these Lincolns, it's always cool to be able to put these parts on and see it all come together, and once it drives out and you see it sitting on the ground, it's pretty awesome.
Before you just go chopping a top off, you know, it's critical to reinforce the body first. This whole Lincoln is a unibody car, so that means there's no frame underneath this thing. The body itself is super rigid and doesn't need a frame, but we just can't cut the roof off or the whole car just bent in half, right? So what we need to do is cut 2 inches out of here and put in 2x4 box tubing in it. So this thing is really, really, really rigid. Let's get it, man. Once you get on that side and just kind of replicate what I'm doing on this side, we'll knock it out real quick. Straight as you can, right on the outside of the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to put the tubing in and out with it not being right on it. But you don't want to get too far out, because that's a bigger gap we have to weld up, and that just takes more time. Once that's out of the way, we can see what's under and see how much farther to go.
That's good right there. From underneath, it's one piece of metal that just curves around into the floor. So I raised it up to get a better angle with the cutting wheel. That'll be way easier than doing it from inside the car.
Yeah. Like a glove, pretty much what we have now is a frame for this thing. That tubing is going to hold the majority of the flex and weight of this car.
It was a pain, but we got it done.
Well, you ain't done yet. You know, you got the other half to do. Let's just get one side in at a time to make sure this thing doesn't buckle and bend and twist.
Bill finished getting these tacked in. I'm gonna go ahead and weld them out. These welds are gonna take a while. You don't wanna stay in one spot too long and have it eat up and distort the metal, so you gotta jump around and make sure it's done right.
Got this piece without a roof. The door frames will lose their structural integrity. So I made a support to put the strength and rigidity back into it. Everything looks good. You got everything welded in nice and solid. It's a lot of welding, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now I got this for the pillar. That's going to keep everything nice and strong. Make sure these doors shut the same way as before when we had the top on it.
All right.
Man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Because the Lincoln's not going to have a roof, the interior is going to be that much more visible. With that in mind, John and Brian are getting after it, making one-off door panels.
Oh, what you got there?
Man, I come with breakfast tacos and dreams.
Okay.
So, but my idea, instead of just a pleated panel, wood pleats. We'll take this board and cut it down to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, and basically cut the pleats into the wood.
I see.
Do a pearl white on top of this so the grain really pops out on it.
We carry that throughout the vehicle. That'll look really cool.
I know, that's why I was kind of like, got it. That's what we're gonna do. But first, taco. Now I got them cut to size. Next thing I gotta do is cut them in half the long way. Get them 2 pieces of the right thickness. We'll run them through the planer, get everything smooth, nice and neat, and then we'll cut our pleats in it. I've set up a fence on the table saw. I want 1.5 inch wide pleats, so cut me some 1.5 inch wide strips. Follow the fence, make the first cut. And I'll stack one in, make another cut, another cut, another cut. Each time I put one of those in there, it moves me 1.5 inches over, gives my spacing evenly all the way across the board, so we get all these things cut and we'll be looking good. All right, so with that done, as you can see, we've got our feet all the way across here. Everything's cut, they're nice and even. So the next thing we'll do, clean up the edges, and they'll be ready to stain.
All right, let's go.
We're adding a lot of power to the 64 Lincoln with the brand new Coyote 5.0.
435 horsepower of fury.
Down.
Like it's supposed to be there.
Now that we finished the air suspension and reinforced the body, we can get going to turning this thing into a roadster.
We're gonna do a one-weather car?
Yeah, there's no putting the top back on after this.
One shot deal.
Cheers. We'll chop down low right here. And once we cap this part of the door, all this flows together. You know, if you open the doors, man, it'll look nice without that indention there.
That's gonna be a clean body line right there. That's gonna look slick.
After we get it cut, we'll have the doors open all out of the way. And if we did our job right, the doors shut back in the right spot, right?
Everything's braced up super solid. I mean, I don't think it's gonna move at all. It's not going to move at all. I'm about to cut this piece out right here. It's gonna be below our doors jammed, so it's just gonna fade right on in. You'll never see it. Got the front half pretty much cut. Now I'm just gonna go on this line right here. That's it.
You got it?
She's loose.
3 feet. Oh, yeah.
Got a little splinter.
Good. Ready. All right.
Got a hard chopper sale. Whoa.
Let's see if the door's shut.
All right. Look at that.
Looks good, man.
I think they should have made them like this.
Should be a factory option.
The custom filler panels for the sling ray, they're all welded out. Now it's time to add some colors.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, just checking this thing out. Jamie just did a really good job making the filler panels for this. Next step, get it all color matched, making it look good. I don't want it to stand out, so I want this wrinkled black so it all matches everything else. Paint this the silver to match the little trim on the side.
Make a two-tone and match the texture and the color at the same time.
Yeah.
It's gonna look sick, man.
Yeah, let me know when you get done with it.
All right, man.
Bill said he wants it a two-tone. From right here, over here, it will be base coat, clear coat, so it will be all gloss. From right here to this side, it will be all texture to match the rest of the car. I'm gonna have to cover this whole piece right here and pretty much leave this wide open. I'm showing you why I'm using this kind of texture is because it's actually real close to the texture of the car, so it'll match really good once this whole thing's done. It's gonna look real nice.
Now Jamie can get the new intake in.
Yeah, it looks good.
And we're ready to give this right back to Tim.
Morning, Bill.
Man, good morning, Tim.
Good, man. How you doing, dude?
Good, man.
You want them donuts? Nah, man, I'm good. I already had my coffee today. So I figured you didn't call me for donuts this morning, huh?
Might have something to show you.
Super excited to see it, man.
Why don't you just have your little donut, and I'll be right back.
All right. Deal. Oh, man! This thing looks sick. As soon as Bill pulled out, first thing I could look at was the engine compartment. those new custom panels, and that air intake looks awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Absolutely love it. Man, dude, looks amazing, man. I love it.
You know, Tim, when you came in, it looked unfinished to you. I mean, there was just a couple of little issues here and there that you can't unsee once it's in your brain. You got to address it.
Oh, right? Definitely, man.
So that's what we did. Got it in the shop. Jamie got busy pounding some metal out, forming those panels for you. Man, he comes through.
Yeah.
Always.
Looks so good. I actually was only expecting some flat sheet metal panels, you know, maybe some bead roll on it, but they actually contoured the metal parts to where it actually looks like it's part of the car. It looks so cool.
After he hammered those out, shipped them over to the body shop, you know, they do what they do. Made these things super slick, two-tone paint, and added a texture on the inside, so it looks like a part you would get from the dealership.
Dude, it does. It totally wraps up this engine bay, though, for sure.
Well, that and
the intake.
The air intake that you had on there, it looked kind of cheesy, but now it's just over the top. You guys replicated the body from a Corvette, so, you know, just got a 2017 Z06 intake, made it just flow with the rest of it. These are definitely the jobs that, you know, just the little tweaks here and there makes such a huge statement. Goes a long way with the customer.
Just wraps it all up.
Yeah, man.
You know, I think this is now complete. Just go and drive it.
Hey, speaking of,
yeah,
I got something I've been wanting to do.
What is it, man?
Man, I always wanted to do donuts while eating donuts.
What?
Yeah, man. You know, I've been thinking about this for a while.
You want to do it?
Man, let's do it.
I'll hold this.
All right.
All right.
I like donuts. I like doing donuts. So how do you top that off? You do donuts while eating donuts. Great day. Got a donut hanging out of my mouth, rubber flying, smoke everywhere, Tim screaming. Doesn't get better than that.
I really tried hard to play cool. I was like, I'm done. Wow, man, that was wild. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Did I wake you up a little bit?
Just a little bit, man. Good idea. Good idea.
We're painting the 64 Lincoln and brought Lewis in to help him paint the custom wood door panels.
So what we've got here is oak, and it's a very grainy species of wood. So we're going to take the wire brush, and we're actually going to rip out all of the softwood to expose the true character of this species. You can start to see the difference on how the character of the grain is actually accented in the piece. All right, we got them all done. Now we just need to take them over to the paint booth, get some paint mixed up, and put some paint on them. Our base coat, you know, it's a brighter white. So what I've done is I've taken that base coat and added some of the pearl powders to it to get really close to the color of the vinyl that we're going to be using in the Lincoln. All right, so we got everything sprayed. We're going to let it dry. It looks really good. You can tell the wire brushing really helped to accent that grain. It's going to look sick, dude.
We're almost done making the 64 Lincoln topless. One of the last steps of the metalwork is capping the doors. You know, I love the no roof on this car. Warm, sunny day. Definitely not going to need the windows to roll up. So what we did is bent some 20 gauge sheet metal, and we're going to cap the doors so you can just see smooth custom lines and everything just flowing. And that's exactly what we want. Same spot. Right there. We put these bars across here, that way we know without having to get back and look at it that everything is 100% true straight. This is straight up against this tubing. It is perfectly parallel with that over there. You know, the way we do something like this is leave the panel that we made all in one piece.
That way, when we're tacking everything in, everything is 100% straight. Once you get it tacked in, all you need to do is go back and make a cut where the door opening is going to be, and then you fine-tune the little edges, and before you know it, you got a cool custom cap for a 64 Lincoln. Look good. Let's go eat. The dash on the 64 Lincoln was in really rough shape. But John and Brian, they have no choice but to make it work.
Well, as you can see, this dash looks terrible. So we checked a couple of places, and no one on the interwebs has one. So that just meant we fixed the one we got. Just gonna take a little bit of fiberglass putty, or get it packed into here. We'll get it all body worked out. Now, if that's done, the next thing we're going to do is start working on the defrost vent panel. We're going to mold in a speaker grill into that so we can put our speakers back in the factory location. We'll cut out a piece of wood. We'll just trace out our template. Once that's shaped out, a little bit of trim here to modify this factory panel so it'll fit in properly. Next thing to do, get it taped up, put it on the panel, get it body worked in. All right. Got everything worked out on the dashboard. Looking good. Body worked out. Looks nice. The next thing we gotta do is wrap it. All right, so I got this nice white vinyl. Lay it up here, trace it all out, get our patterns done, and then sit down and sew it together. In order for this to lay out properly, we want to make sure we take the time to keep this nice and flat. If we get any wrinkles in it now, when we sew it together, it will be sewing a wrinkle into it. Off to the side. Now what we'll do, get these things sewn together. When I was growing up, I always wanted custom cars. I knew I couldn't afford it, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. I ended up sitting behind a sewing machine. But it's just kind of a natural progression. When you get into doing interiors, you kind of expand what you do, and the sewing actually helps you out. You can build anything you want, because no matter what, you'll be able to cover it. I got a nightmare.
Well, it looked like a nightmare. How long is this thing?
About 11 feet. This is not going to be fun.
It's just so much material. You sure this thing fits?
I have a little bit of faith in my process. I don't know what worked. No glasses or clogged up glasses. So now that everything's glued, steamed, and in place, we're just going to take our knife, take a little patience, and work our way around it, get everything trimmed out. And once it's all trimmed out, this thing will be ready to go in the car.
We finished the body work for the Lincoln, now we can get it into paint. The owner wants a high gloss black to contrast the all white interior.
Beautiful.
And now we can put back in the 5.0 Coyote engine.
That looks good on the nice black engine compartment. Yeah, it does. It's tight fit. Well, let's get everything else finished up so we can go for a ride.
We're adding some custom 22-inch wheels and tires, dash, door panels, and seats. And we even re-chromed the original chrome. Man, it's crazy to think this thing sat in our lot for years. And now it looks brand new again.
I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I've had the skills and the knowledge over the years, but just we've never had the workplace to be able to pull it off. But here, it's a whole nother world. John was actually one of my instructors years ago. As an instructor, he knew exactly how to build you out as a person to turn you into a fabricator. It's really, really cool to have that kind of friendship / instructor going on, and it still carries on to this day. John hit me up on Facebook, and he's telling me there's a position available. I definitely knew I could not miss this opportunity. I had to take this. They sent it as the major leagues over here to get this opportunity and come here and to be able to use my skills and advance my skills. It's a very, very amazing feeling to feel like you've got to the top. It was a mind rush to see how this place operates and watch the vehicles come through and the speed we're having to build at, but still have the freedom to be able to build whatever we want. And I never would have thought I'd be standing here looking into this camera.
Old Lincoln's finally done. It's pretty funny. Frank's on his way to check out his one weather car, and it's cold and rainy. a staple in the parking lot for quite some time. From a diamond in the rough to a full polished show car. Always knew his car was going to get finished one day.
Hey there, I'm here for a Lincoln.
Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, Val, how are you guys?
It's a great day to pick up a one weather car, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I brought my rain jacket. I'm all set. You guys ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I purchased that car years ago with intentions to eventually build it myself, but, you know, I've been kind of busy over the last few years, you know what I mean? Man, I'm finally glad we're able to take it in, get it finished up. We built you something really special, man, really cool.
I am ready to see it.
Let's go
see this car.
Let's go see it.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see this car. It's going to be fantastic.
Check this out.
Holy cow! Woo! That is... Looked out and saw that car. Oh my goodness, I was blown away. Just love at first sight. My wildest dreams, I had some ideas, but I couldn't even imagine anything like this.
All your buddies are going to be jealous.
Oh, they are. They are.
Frank, the rest of the world's going to be jealous about this car. You know, there's nothing like seeing a big old long car with a no roof sitting on the ground like this one. You can't tell how many hours and hours of metal work that went into it. You know, I thought it was a solid car. Once we got it blasted, came back, you know, it was way, way worse shape than I originally thought. So we had to end up replacing the front fender, the rear quarter, and the hood also. Once we got the body straight, the fun begins. This car being, you know, a unibody, just cutting the roof off isn't that easy. So what we had to do is go in and basically built a frame inside the body of the car to make it super rigid.
Give it enough stiffness so it's not twisting all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
So once we did that, we were able to cut the roof totally off, and we went and capped the top of the doors, and then capped the whole deck. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this.
It feels like poised and relaxed, but at the same time like ready to jump, like a black panther ready to pounce.
Of course, you know, on a car like this, you gotta have it low. So that's what we did. All custom air suspension on it, set all the way on the ground. That just makes this car. Check out underneath the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the motor. Oh my God, that is incredible. Wow.
Right?
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Late model 5.0. You got about 450 horsepower under the hood now. This thing will get it.
Can't wait to get behind the wheel and try it out for myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you like this. I know you kind of already seen it, but check out the interior.
All right, let's go look at the interior. That is awesome.
This is one of the most important aspects of the car itself. When, you know, there's no roof, that's one of the first things you come up and look at. You know, John and the guys, I mean, look.
They did an amazing job. It's incredible.
And you can see it looks really, really clean. They put wood in all the door panels, wood accents all throughout, and then painted it all white. So it looks like something that would have came in this car back in the 60s.
Yep. The interior of this car is incredible. The white finishes with the piping on the seats, the white washed wood, it's just clean and perfect. Blew me out of the water. You not only met my expectations, you so far exceeded them, I can hardly find the words to describe.
Each and every person in the shop helped out with this project. You know, I can't thank them enough.
Woo! That is awesome.
This car looks amazing now.
Bill, this is so cool. I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You're very welcome.
Entirely new dash. Something will give us a new feel for a very old truck.
You know, this is the first time making a frame with cut plate like this for extensive. It's only been a few months since we finished phase 1 on Ronald's 71 Suburban.
What brings you back? I need some more work done to it.
We can definitely weight this thing up.
I've discovered a huge no-no.
You know, it's not only wrong, it's dangerous.
I'm always up for making things go fast.
This is the definition of custom. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. I got a customer, Jose. He's He's gotta have a 68. Jose been to a few places looking at a couple projects. None of them really worked out, but hopefully today we'll have a little more luck. What's up, Jose?
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Well, I've been looking for a 68 for a while, but I haven't found one that has caught my eye.
So my boy Rigo said he's got one in the back of his shop, man. Maybe we might be able to make a deal if you're interested. Maybe we'll test drive this thing.
Let's check it out, see what he got.
We'll see what's up. Rigo!
What's up, baby?
Rigo's a welder who helps us out from time to time. He's got a 68 Chevy in the back that he's used a few parts off of that'll be right up our alley.
It's in the bag, man. I hope it can work out a deal.
How's the body look? Body's clean and straight?
It looks good, man. For what y'all gonna do is right.
All right, well, let's check it out.
Look at it.
The 68 truck has always been my dream truck since I was a kid. Growing up and going to car shows, it's the one that always stood out for me.
Here we go.
There it is. Well, Bill, it is a 68 cab. I was thinking we were going to buy a whole truck.
Yeah. You know, Rigo told me he had a truck. Rigo's got parts.
You got a nickname, Keith.
Yeah, keys.
I know Bill's the master at this, but guess we got to keep looking.
Well, man, you know, all the ones we looked at, they look good till you get up to them and really start looking, and then you find all the little hidden problems.
Right.
The advantage to something like this is you see all the problems. There's nothing hidden here.
Right, right.
You know, so getting a vehicle, well, parts like this is kind of a head start. This actually save a few hours of teardown time.
I see what you're saying, you know, maybe it saves some time, but, you know, is it really feasible for us to buy a truck in pieces like we have it now?
Man, everything's here. The bed's clean, which is really hard to find. The door's decent, fenders, hood, and that's pretty much everything we need to really start building a truck like this.
But there's a reason I came to Bill. I trust him. If he tells me that this is enough parts to build my dream truck, I'm going to roll the dice, and we'll see what he can come up with.
Man, we don't need 85% of the truck. Okay. We're just going to toss it and start anyway. So you want, you know, a full custom chassis, suspension, the brakes, new wheels, tires, crazy engine, and interior. I mean,
you'll have to tear it apart anyways.
I think it's a heck of a start, man.
Right, right. Yeah, I want that truck that's a showstopper, that's a little unique. If you think you and your team can give me my dream truck with these parts, I think we can take it off Rigo's hands.
Sure, let's go holler at Rigo. I kind of like the fact there's not too many in 1968s anymore. There's only so many made. If you find a 1968, it's either way built out, way pricey, or it's just way too far gone. There's very few are in between. This 68 is in a lot of pieces. Most shops that see a project like this and just keep walking by. And this one would have just continued to rust and just fall apart, cease to exist in so many years. But with the skill we have here, the tools we have here, the manpower we have, the knowledge we have, we're going to create something really cool.
Man, I wonder when the truck's getting here. Got some parts for us?
This is it.
Man, one of these days they're just going to come with the steering wheel and expect us to build something.
I hope there's some more parts in the van.
We got everything we need right here. We don't need the frame. We don't need the interior. We don't need all that stuff a truck usually comes with. It's a head start.
Thanks, boss.
Look, you can see inside of the cab. All the problems are exposed right now. We know exactly what we need to do, and we're good. It's a great start.
Definitely know what we don't have, too.
To really set this thing apart from all the other ones on the road, we're going to start with a huge motor in this thing. You know, about 900 horsepower is what I want. A full custom chassis front to back because Jose wants to put it all the way on the ground with these huge wheels, 26 by 16s in the back. Fabricated rear end, smooth bed, everything, all the sheet metal contoured and painted all body color. You know, as far as the firewall, we're going to cut all that completely out and make a new one. Some bead roll panels in, something that looks really cool. It's nothing for you guys.
You got this, Tim.
You have a plan for the interior?
We're gonna let John just roll with it and go crazy. As far as the dash, that thing has to be cut completely out. I can't stand these dashes that are in these trucks. We're gonna build every piece and put a ton of stereo in it. Want it really loud also. For the doors.
Got doors?
Yes, we got doors. You know, that's a huge head start too. To have flush mount glass put in this thing, it's going to be totally custom. Step ahead right there. It's easy. Hope I didn't jinx myself on it. Come on, man. Let's get this thing off here.
Let's do it.
You know, the good thing about getting a truck in this shape, we don't have to spend a lot of time tearing it down. We sent the cab straight to blast, and because that's all we have is the cab, it came straight back. And it's in pretty good shape. But we're not done tearing it down, because now John's going to make room for a custom dash.
So we're going to do something in this truck that's going to give us a nice new feel for something that's been done over and over and over. You know, you can only beat a dead horse so long until you just throw it away and buy a new horse. So, new horse. The plan here is first, we've got to get rid of all this old dash. We'll be cutting from door to door, all the way across the top, unbolt it, and just throw this whole thing away. We're going to be building an entirely new dash, new instrument cluster, AC controls, something that'll give us a nice new feel for a very old truck. Now there's nothing left to do but everything.
Yeah, but everything.
I'm starting to work on the 68 Chevy frame. Jose wanted something just totally different. He's like, hey, just make me something that's unique. So with a truck that's super low to the ground with air suspension, it's pretty common to see frame rails coming up, protruding through the bed floor and going over the axle. Well, in this case, I want to show off the axle itself is the beauty of the suspension. So you look down into the bed and you see just custom axle with suspension going underneath of it and not really seeing a traditional frame. So I think that's what's going to be the cool aspect of this whole build. Most of the link bar setups that we do is just a 2x2 box tubing with a block on it and they bolt to the axle. Well, this is going to be just as different. This chipboard is going to represent our link bar. So it's going to bolt to the frame and come back and grab and just hold the rear end. We're going to burn 4 plates at a 1/4 inch plate and then come all the way back to the back side of the frame and then box it all in. Just to save a little time and effort, I'm going to have 2x4 box tubing to here, and then I'm going to graft it to what we're going to build. There. The next step is just transferring everything that's on the table onto my piece of paper so Jesse can burn it out, figured out. Got my saddles figured out. I got my frame rails figured out. Off to Jesse. The plasma table about 12 years ago, and almost every car that's came through here since, we made a part or parts with it. But like all good tools, especially ones you use every day, they wear down. So we ordered a brand new, way better table. But I got one more job for this one. Need your help. All right, I want you to burn these link bars out for me. 4 of these 1/4 inch material, 4 of these 1/4. And the same with the frame rails. All right. This is probably going to be our last job on the old burn table. We got that brand new one coming in. Yeah. So let's put the whole into work one last time. All right.
So what I'm doing now is all the measurements that I got off the cardboard that Bill gave me, I have to put on here. We're going to cut 4 pieces of each, which will make it 8 total. All right, so this is going to be the last time this machine is going to be used. Old Betsy here. This is it for her. Those look good. I like how they came out. They came out real clean. Just clean them up. Polish them out. Take them over to Bill. That was the last run for this machine. Man, I can't wait to use the new one.
There's a good reason why 68 C10s are so popular. With that classic body style, there's a lot of room for customization. For me, the difference between an average C10 and an over-the-top C10 is most definitely the details, like a John Burgess one-off handmade dash.
This is essentially the foundation for the dash. Everything's going to attach to this and be built from this structure out. So I want to make sure that this piece lines up and gets in here exactly where we want it, nice and smooth and even. Because if not, we're going to see it in the end. And with this being the dashboard, you're going to be sitting here staring at it all day, every day as you're driving this truck. So you'll see what's wrong with it. So we want to make sure we take the time to get everything just right. We'll get it secured in place and get ready for Brian's pieces.
Got a delivery!
Just in time. Ooh, hot off the
They're hot. Don't touch it.
Well, I'm just getting everything marked out here where they're all going to go. I'll mark them. You want to cut them and we'll get them glued?
I'll cut them.
Got jigsaw ready to go.
Ready to go. Let's do it.
All pieces to the puzzle. Perfect.
Look who it is.
Oh man, he's back.
Thing still looks good.
Man, it does. It's only been a few months since we finished phase 1 on Ronald's 71 Suburban. It came in pretty dated, but it left with a huge custom lift, big wheels and tires, and a completely custom interior, dash, headliner, seats, and audio. You know, after he saw it, I can tell Ronald got bit by the customization bug. And sure enough, he's already back.
What's going on, Bill?
What's happening?
How you doing, buddy?
Man, how you doing?
Tim?
How was your drive?
It was good, man.
How's that thing doing, man?
It's awesome. Turning heads everywhere I go.
Yeah.
It draws a crowd.
Man, that thing's still looking good.
It's beautiful, man. I'm thrilled with it.
Man, that's always good to hear.
Oh, always, yeah.
What are you doing? What brings you back?
I need some more work done to it.
Phase 2?
Phase 2.
All right, now you're talking.
Drove it around a lot, had a good time with her. Phase 2 is now on my mind. The bug bit me, and I'm totally into it. You know, I really want to take this truck to the next level.
So, Ron, what you thinking on phase 2?
I'm thinking I need more power in the motor. I need something to beef it up a little bit. I mean, it's good the way it is, but it's a big truck. It needs some power in it to push her around.
It's some big wheels and tires.
It sure is, man. It sure is.
Let's check it out.
All right.
Ron, it's definitely a little underwhelming, right?
Definitely.
I mean, but you got a great platform. I mean, the LS in it is definitely the way to go. I mean, we can definitely wake this thing up.
I'm sure you can.
You know, I think what this engine compartment needs is a supercharger on this thing. New intake, you know, new exhaust all the way out the back, and some painting underneath here. You know, bring the body color into the engine compartment and just make it so, you know, you can be proud of this thing when you pop the hood.
I won't be afraid to open her up.
Yeah.
Let people see this part.
I agree, man. We need to add some color, add some style, take off this stock valve cover, stock air cleaner.
That's got to go.
I think everything in here's got to go.
I'm trusting you, Bill.
This thing's going to be right. You know, it's a shame having a custom truck where you can't pop the hood. So I'm glad Ronald wants to fix up this engine compartment. I think something else that might be pretty cool on here is, the thing looks mean coming down the road at you, but maybe adding some aftermarket bumpers to really just finish off the attitude of it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of attitude right now, but you're right. I think some bumpers want to set her off.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I'm getting up there in age, man. And my knees can't take jumping out of this thing all the time.
We lifted it too high for you?
It's a little too high, man. So, some nice steps on there, whatever you think, you know, to fit the vehicle, you let me know.
Would definitely get you hooked up with that, but you know, wouldn't want to put a Nerf bar or anything on this. It just looks too clean from the side, not seeing the steps. So we'll get some retractable ones so you can still get in it easy, but
I agree.
You know,
I'd rather not know that they're even there. I think that's the way to go.
That sounds cool, man. Let's get this phase 2 going, go make it official.
Sounds good.
A customer always tell you, hey, I'm going to come back, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, when they actually come back, they come into the parking lot, you see them back, you know we're doing a good job. We're doing what we're supposed to do. It's time for phase 2. I know exactly what happened. Once a customer gets their car for a little while, they drive around, put miles on it, their brain starts working. They start thinking about, what they need, what vehicle better. That just goes to show you, when you're bit by the custom bug, you get that feeling. You just got to have more and more and more. Just like any part of the project, especially like a phase 2. I just love that progression. I love how the project evolves, even bigger and better.
What's going on, buddy?
You remember we did this truck a while back, put the lift kit on it and all the interior? We took it back home. He wanted to just drive it for a while, and now he's saying he doesn't have enough power. So now we're going to put a Pro Charger in here. Then we're going to put a front runner kit on the front, so that'll dress up all the motor. Probably put some headers on this thing, let the air flow out of the motor a little better. He wants to just clean up the engine bay, just make it look where if he pops the hood, it's presentable.
I mean, it's decent, but I'm sure he wants it a whole lot better, right?
Yeah, he wants to add some bumpers because, the truck's lifted now and in your face, you just kind of see the stock bumpers. So we're going to add something like a steel bumper on front and rear.
Some nice aggressive bumpers on it. Definitely wake this thing up.
And when building these trucks, it's never done. It could be phase 10. You still gotta add something.
Yeah, I'm still not done.
In order to get more access to the engine compartment, I've asked Edgar and the guys to pull the front end off.
The fab guys are gonna put a supercharger on this thing. So what I need to do, I need to take off pretty much the whole front end of this vehicle so they can have space to work on it and do what they have to do. I put tape lines all over the front end. So when everything is off, put it back together, it should be the same way. Go up, whoa. No, the other way.
Ponemos en medio. Pulling this engine apart, you can tell it looks like it has a ton of miles on it, which is typical, road dirt, road grime, everything from driving your vehicle, which this man did. But it's all coming off very nicely. What I'm doing is cleaning all the intake ports, and I'm gonna mask all that up, tape it up, so nothing will get inside the cylinder heads. Something gets in there, gets through the valve, goes in the combustion chamber, it'll mess up pistons, valves, all kinds of stuff. We don't want that to happen. That's why I don't wear wedding rings. Oh no. There's a big notch in this frame, which somebody made in order for the exhaust to clear. It shouldn't have been this big. When you got a notch frame like this, you got to go back and put some kind of reinforcement back in there because you just took out a lot of strength. And driving around with notches like this is really dangerous. So we got to build it back up the right way.
When we built the lift for the 71 Suburban, the headers were hiding in the cutout section of the frame. Only after we removed everything could we see it. It's not only wrong, it's dangerous. It makes the whole frame weak. So John's got to fix those frame rails before we do anything else.
The issue you have with this is you don't have very much structure right here in this area. How thin it is to the wall when you're driving, going through rough terrain or whatever. It makes the frame twist and bend and everything. When it does that, it causes cracks. So what we're gonna do is go back and repair this, grind this up, clean it up real nice, make it look like it's never been cut before. I got those grinded down. I'm ready to cut out the plate to go in there. So we got her some 1.5 by 5 inches, 3/16, same thickness as the frame that we're gonna patch back up in here. But first I gotta get this piece to fit in there perfect. Once that's done, we'll get it welded in. I think it should fit in there now. One of the best things you can do when butt welding some plate together is make a nice bevel on the edges. Wherever you're gonna butt to, you do it on the plate and the material so you get a nice V groove in there. When you lay your weld down in there, it penetrates all the way through the bottom end of the plate, and you only gotta weld the top. You won't have to get to the bottom because your penetration will go all the way through. Got that fully welded in, a little smooth out, and it'll be good. We got the strength back in here. It's good as new.
Jesse finished making the plates for the custom frame on the 68 chassis. So now all we got to do is box those plates in. This is the first time making a frame with cut plate like this for extensive. We never just really had the time to take the time to make a custom chassis like this, because it is a ton of work. Jesse did a real good job of cutting out this 1/4-inch plate in the shape of a frame. So the next step we're going to do is wrap some 2-inch flat bar all the way around the shape of the plate. And we're going to box it in, weld it, grind it, and it's going to look like it's a bought piece. So what we'll do is just bend this by hand. You see we've got a flat spot here, so it needs to be a little bent, a little more right here. So bend it a little more right there. All right, see if you can get one rubbed into that. All right. You see just the layout, the drawing, the cutting, the shaping, the welding, and even the grinding. It takes 10 times more than just a regular chassis. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, move it down a little bit. So we're putting a lot of extra time into making Jose something really, really cool, really sculpted, and really special.
So as you heard Bill say, this is a first for extensive. I'm new to the shop, so this is a first for me also. Kind of got thrown in the mix, but it's the only way you're going to learn. It's cool to be able to be working here and be working on something that's never been done here also.
You know, we got a lot of tools around here to do all kind of different metal shaping, but, you know, sometimes it's just way more efficient just to grab the metal and just start manipulating it by hand. And, you know, that's the true definition of working with your hands and being handcrafted.
All right, I got this one close. Bill's template, a couple more bends, and it should match. It's gonna work, guys.
While we're boxing in the 68 Chevy's frame piece by piece, over in interior, John and Brian are moving on to the next stages of the custom dash.
You know, the structure's really coming along. Everything's starting to come together and take shape. We're going to have some place to put a headlight switch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach that to the dash pad and make that part of the dash pad, and it'll come down and sit on top of the dash right here. Sits here, you got your headlight switch right here. It'll all tie together. It'll look pretty cool. You know, that's the thing about these things. They're organic. They kind of take shape and do things as you work along. So as Brian's over here doing the body work and getting the lines in and everything's starting to take shape, you can really see it and know where you're headed. And you know, you get to add those little touches to it along the way to make sure that everything flows perfectly and just nice. The cool part about it, the organic part of it, is just it grows as you go. So it's enjoyable. Look what I got.
Oh, how'd you get that thing?
8-9 weeks out, we got it in a week, so wow. Can't complain.
No.
Now all we get to do now is find out if that internet template works out.
Time to cut it.
We finally got the cluster in and we ordered online. I looked all over for a template. They didn't offer one to print out. Cheated a little bit. I blew the screen up and took a measurement until it all fit, traced it out, and transferred it. So now's the moment of truth. See if this thing is actually going to fit or not.
Boom, baby.
All right, man, you got it all cut out.
It's all cut out.
There it is.
Moment of truth. Here we go. I got my toes crossed. Don't even worry about it.
Okay. Man, there's no way I got that close off of that template computer screen.
Bruh, it fits.
No way. That thing fit that good?
I mean, look, dude. I mean, we're within 1/8 of an inch. Just need a little mud to make it dead on perfect. But, I mean, you can't get no closer than that. Just guessing.
Right on. Cool.
Sweet.
Well, let B's Mud Palace go to town.
Time to mud it up.
We found a really aggressive front bumper for the 71 Suburban. You know, we couldn't find the exact right look for the rear bumper, so we're going to make it out of quarter. He's got a press big enough to bend steel that long and that thick.
What's up? All right, man. Your dad said you had a little project going on for me?
Yes, sir.
We got a bumper here?
Yeah.
Set out a 1/4 inch?
1/4 inch by 75 inches.
It's going to be some heavy-duty bumper here.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll get it done. You can come with me.
All right, let's do it.
All right. thick melt. It weighs about 500 pounds a sheet, 10 pounds per square foot. So that's what we're working with. All right.
It's really cool that my dad can just give me a couple pieces of paper and some measurements and dimensions. I give it to him, he knows exactly what to do.
All right, what you got now? You got 2 inches right here?
Yeah, 3 1/4, 7 1/4 altogether.
All right, we're going to get this show on the road here. This is a 12-foot long press brake. It's 250 tons pressure that is bent 90 degrees. If you need a big piece of metal bent, you need to come see this brake right here.
Now, let's see.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
It does.
I think we got it.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
With the Suburban's frame fixed, Edgar's color matched the firewall and the engine. Now it's time for Matt to wake up that LS.
Perfect. Now that we got our motor back in it, we get our Pro Charger on it. It's a belt-driven blower. It's going to force air into the motor. With more airflow plus more fuel, you're going to get a lot more power. The motors have always been my thing. They've always come kind of easy to me. I'm always up for making things go faster. This plate allows us to mount the blower to the factory pulley assembly. And now we can go ahead and install our head unit, which will attach right to the bracket off to the side here. This is just the idler pulley here. So the motor's power will spin the crankshaft and the belt through all the idler pulleys to the blower pulleys to create all the airflow that'll come out of here. All right, so now we're gonna put our sheet metal intake on. So this intake allows for better airflow. The way the runners are built, it's designed for the air to travel smoother into the motor with less restriction. So not everything has to do with performance in the custom world. Sometimes you just want to spend that money to get your engine to look good. Part of the reason we're changing these valve covers, factory, all the coils sit on the LS valve covers, and these ones come with no provisions for coil packs, and we're going to hide them just for the overall appearance. It's going to be a lot better looking. Next step, we're going to put our throttle body on. It controls the airflow into the motor. When you mash it to the floor, it pulls it open and allows all the air that this Pro Charger is going to create to push right in there. We got that put on. We can put our AC compressor on, and then we'll move on to putting the main drive belt for the blower on. Okay, so we're going to install a set of Shorty stainless headers. These do help with performance, but they also can make it look badass. Like it?
Man, it's huge improvement. You know, this truck's going to get a whole lot of attention no matter where it goes. And he's going to have some more power.
Quite a bit more power.
Those tools come together.
The 68 C10 frames really come together nice. So we got our pieces we cut on the table, our 1/4 inch plate. It's going to be the size of our new frame rail. We got our flat bar that we shaped to match the contour of the pieces that we cut. So we're going to put them together, weld them all up, grind them down, nice clean lines, and all totally custom. Step is just tacking the top part of the frame in. You know, it's like any project, you got to take your time. You know, the challenge to this is to not have any flat, jerky parts, and you want everything all nice and smooth and consistent. You know, we got to make sure everything is perfect, no flaws in this whatsoever. Everybody's going to be looking.
Thank you.
You know, after a whole lot of cutting, welding, grinding, hand bending, we're at the point we finally start to put pieces together, and it's finally going to start looking like a frame.
Man, this thing looks cool.
Man, it's getting there, huh?
I haven't seen one of these before, or one like this.
Yeah, we've never made one like this. I've never even seen a frame that goes under the frame, comes back and just curves around everything. This is the definition of custom. Here, help me hold this. You can clamp this. This one's going to finish up on the back 1/4 of the frame. Damn, that looks good. You know, we're going to be putting a lot lot of heat, a lot of welding, and a lot of grinding on this. So I want to maintain this being level, straight, to worry about it moving. If it does move, I can see it coming off the ground and how to correct it as we're building it. See the back part of the frame, everything flows together. It, starts on one side, just goes all the way around like a old school slot car track. Once this is all capped in, that'll finalize the rear part of the frame. Pop in the suspension, the whole back half is completely done. How y'all doing?
It's going.
Give me some good news on the engine transmission for the 68.
The motor and trans that the customer ordered is not ready yet, and we don't know what it is or when it's going to be here.
That always complicates things, right?
Yeah, he can't get a hold of his transmission guy, so we don't know when it's coming, specs, we don't know anything about it.
So we can't mock anything up or anything?
Nothing at all.
And our live space is hot commodity. We're super busy right now, so we can't afford to everything, and then it's still not here. And then the truck's stuck on a lift. So what I think I'll do is just pause the whole thing. I'm disappointed for sure, but I've been in the game long enough to know every build has its own path. Sometimes you hit a bump, but I guarantee when we get our parts, we'll get back at it. And then Jose's gonna get his 68 Chevy of his dreams, and then some. Let's have everything all lined up, that way we can pump it out.
Yeah, sounds good.
Next time I come in, give me some good news.
I'll try.
See ya. Come on, Cleve. This shop never stops. One might slow down a little bit, but at the same time, phase 2 of the Suburban is almost complete. We got our super strong 1/4-inch plate all bent at a nice little angle, so it's going to look really good against the truck. So the next step is just tacking it to our bumper brackets that we made and start building. Yeah.
You want to just 45 this back?
Just kind of getting an idea, kind of seeing what looks cool, what doesn't. It might add not, it just depends on how it starts looking, how it starts taking shape. Maybe something like that. Just another part of the custom creative process of making something cool. Yeah, whatever looks cool, that's what we're gonna do.
Man, this is rounded right here, and this is kind of stepped to go with the bumper. So I'm trying to manipulate it enough to where I can make this have a bend on this side to follow this, but then I'll probably make it come out, and I'll just cut it with the rounded part, make it follow the bumper.
Try that and see what it looks like.
The good part about working at a shop like this, you can do just about anything. Just whatever you think up and create, you can do it on this piece of metal. All right, now we have all the pieces made. They're all tacked in place. We have the shape to take out that big area we had right there on the body. Kind of makes it flow with the truck now. And then we can pull the whole bumper off, weld it out, and put it back on. Next thing we're gonna do is make a license plate box. It's gonna serve 2 purposes. It's gonna hold the license plate, and if he ever tows, take the license plate off of it, and his receiver hitch is right here behind it. I knew this, but if you ever want to tow something, it kind of disappears when the license plate's on it. If you ever do need to tow something, take the license plate off, put your receiver hitch in, pull it, whenever you get done, put the license plate back on, and it kind of hides all the receiver hitch, all that. Now, cut the excess off, then I'll put it back up and weld it on finally. We can weld it up here, all the way around, and then come back with a big flat pad and just go down it until we work it down where there's no more weld. It carries the same body lines, but you don't ever get into this hard edge, and it just looks like a more finished product.
Now Now if the metal work is done, the bumpers can get powder coated and then off to body and paint. Matt's all done waking up this LS with a Pro Charger. We made mounts to install the retractable steps, and phase 2 is complete. Now we're ready to send this truck back to Ronald once again.
Than what it is now. Started off with a little shack, maybe like one wall full of parts. I was just answering phones, most basic stuff ever. And then as it grew and we started selling more parts, more phone calls, more customers, more builds, more appointments, and it's where we're at now. Growing up, I was kind of a tomboy. My dad didn't have any sons for a long time, and so he raised us like boys almost, you know, to fend for ourselves, changing brakes, oil changes, stuff like that. So everything that my dad taught me, I brought here, plus the bagged world, the bagged scene. I learned a lot from Bill, and there's no one better to learn from but him. Working with nothing but guys, it's like having nothing but big brothers around. They're always joking, they're always playing, they give, you know, a hard time, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. We're just one big family.
Real deal, Bill. What's up, Bill? What you up to?
How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Big bro in the neighborhood. Just sliding by to get some inspiration. You know, you got something going on over here, man.
You know, I always like when Slim and Raymond come by, but today, you know, I can tell they're on a little mission to see which way the tree. They're in the right spot.
You know, I mean, we've been sitting on the same fleet for a minute, man. This time we got to blow their mind one more time, man. The Mac's still holding, but, you know, we ready to do some more bills.
Yeah.
Just trying to find out what I'm going to do next, man. Is it going to be old school, new school, big truck, or you know what I'm saying? What? Like, get us
you got
something.
Man, you already know, we just always lifting something up, dropping something down, cutting something up.
What's up, Bill? Ready a little Suburban out?
You got a Suburban?
Yeah, man, you want to check it out?
Yeah.
You know what better time for Slim and Raymond to stop by and check out our latest build? We're just about to ship off phase 2 of Ronald's latest and greatest Suburban.
Oh, man. Look at that, bro.
That's an old school.
He thought it was a new one, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was a new one. That's the old 3-0. Nothing better not getting away with that, man.
Yeah, that thing's heavy.
That's for real.
Yeah,
you don't ever see these going down the road.
Never, man. I ain't seen one in so long. I ain't never think about the old school bourbon. You would think outside the box and do something like this, huh? It's crazy.
Well, you know, we're just finishing phase 2 of the build. What we did in phase 1, put it on the lift, ripped out all the old suspension.
You see, man, that's
nice 4 links front and rear with air, so it's fully adjustable too.
I don't know why I go up and down too.
Oh yeah, man.
That's nice.
Come on.
You know, put some nice wheels, nice tires, and just to give it that mean look.
That's sick, man.
That's nice.
Full interior redo.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love this here, man. This look like a Slum Thug car.
It was, do something new.
It'll take Bill to make you want an old school 3-door bourbon, man.
I like the wheels on there. You see them wheels?
I love it, man. I love it, bro.
You know, we took off with it, and sure enough, came right back with it. He got bit by the bug and just, you know, had to have more. So phase 2 was getting it back in the shop. We just molded in some cool bumpers for it just to finish off that mean, aggressive look. Welded all up, grinded all down, painted, color match it, and we just fully built the back one, just all out of 1/4-inch material too. So you had to worry about backing into something.
Nah, the bumpers look good.
Oh man, they look crazy.
You know, once we got the bumpers right, you know, we had to make it a little easier to get in and out of it for him too, because
everybody ain't tired of Slum Thug, huh?
Yeah, you know, we had to hook him up and do a little something special for him.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Let's see what you
Check
got
it out.
See what's going on over here.
Right.
Look at that. Still like on a new bourbon.
Right.
Yeah, man. Looks
right.
And it was here too.
Yeah, it's all tucked up. You don't even see it. So
that's dope, man.
His last problem was the car looks so good on the outside, looks good underneath, looks good inside.
Okay.
But man, everywhere you go, people ask, "Hey, what's under the hood?" You'd be like, "Oh, none." You know, He couldn't really show it off, so we hooked him up there.
Let's see what you got going under the hood. Come on, man. Look at him, man. You see that there, man? What you trying to do? Race it or what?
Yeah, what you doing?
Oh, man, that's
Wasn't expecting that now, right?
You know, so what we did, just a straight pull out, LS out of a truck. It wasn't anything to show off.
That's a pro charger? They trying to race it. They put a pro charger on a Bourbon. On a Bourbon.
You know, smooth all the core support, smooth the firewall, and finish it off with pro charge. Give him some power too.
Yeah.
He's got a complete package now.
It looks good, man.
Right?
Real good. Well, Bill, you know we came through here for the inspiration. I'm damn sure inspired, man. So yeah, me and my brother gotta find us an old school.
Gotta find us one.
Man, let me know what y'all figure out. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
You know where we're at.
You know we gonna let you know real deal.
Man, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Slim, I can't, because you know we're ready. And Ronald, the truck's on its way to you. When you get tired of everything that we've done now, bring it on back.
We're going to be the first ones to have a Pro Charge 2021 Escalade.
Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. Talk right sound and Escalade.
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe.
Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. When I say everything, this is everything. I want to drop it all the way on the ground. The air suspension on it, late model 5.0 in this thing. It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
Total surprise.
She looks really pretty.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
My old friend Ryan called me. He said he got a new project for us to do it. His family owns a company that builds and sells records. In fact, his dad started the business back in the 70s. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming out, Bill.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Got this project for you here.
These the ones you're talking about?
We're going to start with this one here.
What year is this thing?
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe, and my dad bought it back in 86 when he turned 40. Tore it apart about 15 years ago, and here we sit. Same spot.
Oh, man. You know, I've heard this story a million times. A shop takes in the car, tears it apart, there it sits for years, and they never finish it.
I need somebody to put it back together.
Yeah?
Something special.
How old's your dad now?
74.
Does he know about this?
Knows nothing about this project. He does so much for everybody else in the community.
Yeah,
gives his shirt off his back. Doesn't do anything for himself, so it's time to give back.
Man, that's awesome. I'm in on it. You know, I've never had one of these in the shop. It's going to be a first for us, but man, I've always admired these. You know, just looking at this car, it's going to be a cool car, but to have somebody, you know, think of you the way Ryan's thinking of his dad, that's a cool gift.
Looking for something that he can drive to the show, not only just a trailer queen, but he can get down on the highway and do 80, cold AC.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. We'll make it something he can burn the tire. Lot of trophies.
That sounds good. This car used to be called Blue Thunder when he got it. You know how they used to nickname their cars.
Oh, yeah?
So we need to do something with that.
So it's got to be blue.
Yes, sir. Got to be blue. We're looking for a dark metallic blue that pops blue when the sun hits it. Looks a little darker at night.
This is a cool, iconic body style, but this thing's got to sit right. So we're going to start out by building air suspension on this thing to get it really, really low to the ground with the right wheels and tires and get that stance perfect. Man, what you got under the hood of this? Is there air?
Let me just show you.
Oh, man. We can't have nothing in here like this, man.
Got an old 350 Chevy in it, so that's wrong right off the bat.
I mean, that's definitely going to come out and just start fresh with the new 5.0 in this thing. Man, when he pushes on the gas pedal, man, he's going to be happy.
That's what we need. You know, I can't wait for my father to have that smile on his face that he has for everybody else, but this time for himself.
Let's see what the interior looks like in there. Should I say lack thereof? Oh, yeah. Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. No, man, there's nothing in here we can use.
You know, Bill, I know you got the outside all figured out and stuff. Then inside, take it to the next level.
Just taking it to the next level would be very hard on this interior. I want your old man to get this thing back, open the door, and sit down in here and just feel like he's 40 again. Because he might have a heart attack on this one.
But this will stop him taking those little blue pills, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you won't need them no more after this, right?
We snuck you in while he's out at the races. Let me get it over to your place, and then we'll go from there. Sounds
Get
great.
back rolling. I love that Ryan's giving something back to his dad. You know, not just anything, a custom 46 Ford. It's just that little extra that's going to make this cool old car even more badass. You know, most people see a car like this and go, man, look at that cool old car. But for me, when I see an old car like this, all I can think about is how many hours it's going to take to make this thing cool. You know, there's a lot of differences in customizing a new car versus an old car. A new car, you don't have to worry about lining up body panels. You don't have to worry about, you know, the hood latching correctly. I mean, you put wheels and tires, do your thing on it, slam the door, go about your business. So, you know, an old car, just the opposite. You have to address every single part on a car. There's going to be hours just getting the hinges lined up. There's going to be hours getting the window regulators working properly. There's going to be hours of just getting the window felt in. I mean, nobody ever sees you do this thing. There's only one thing to do. Quit talking about it and get to it.
Whoa! Has this thing always been back here?
You don't get out of the office much, do you?
No.
It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
It's a hell of a surprise.
Right? You know, I want to get this thing in the shop and blow it totally apart. We got to make this thing really low. I want to do air suspension on it. I want to put 20s on the front, 22s on the back, maybe a 22s on the front. I want to just kind of see how it looks. Once it's up on the lip, we'll see if there's anything underneath we can salvage.
Find out what's underneath all this.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, man. This thing, you can tell the bodywork's been done a long time ago, and there's a lot of it on here, so it's going to take a lot of work.
This thing's already got Blue Thunder on the back. Are you staying with blue on this?
It'd be sacrilegious to change that, right? You know, we got to bring old Blue Thunder into the 21st century. You know, this engine definitely ain't gonna cut it. It's got a Chevy engine now. Don't want that. We're on a late model 5.0, 6-speed transmission, new wiring harness, pedal, column, radiator hoses. When I say everything, this is everything.
So for the interior, looks pretty complete. It's got an awesome seat in there.
I'm gonna take this out. But everything other than that, you know, there's nothing there. So new bucket seats, bench seat in the back, of course, stereo equipment. Get with John, see what kind of equipment we need. Let's get it ordered, get the carpet, get the headliner, get the window felt, window regulators, you know, one-piece side glass.
We're building the whole car, everything ground up, 100%.
Man, that's exactly what we're gonna do. You know, this thing is gonna require everybody in the shop. There's nothing on here that we're not gonna handle.
There's a whole process after process on this. Let's call it Blue Process.
Well, let's get to the first process, getting this thing in, and get to it.
Got it. Let's do it.
This car's been sitting around rusting for who knows how long. So we'll start by getting up on the lift just to see how long our to-do list is. Ooh, look at that. Had intentions of just doing suspension on this, but you know, after looking at this frame, it's got to go. Our transmission is going to be a lot bigger. It's a big 6-speed transmission, so it's way bigger. So we'd have to cut all this out to make room. The easiest thing to do is just get rid of this old frame and just go over to the just unbolt the body, get it off the blast, and we'll get the body shop guys busy for a while. Man, Timmy, we thought we were just going to be able to salvage this.
That's like demoing a whole house to build a new one, but leaving the cracked slab. You want a good foundation to start with. If not, it's just going to be problems down the road. Body separated from the chassis. We're going to roll the chassis out, fasten the body to a body cart. We'll send this off to get media blasted, and we'll see how it looks when it comes back from media blast.
You know, I can really appreciate a surprise like Ryan's going to do for his dad with this coupe. I surprised my wife Jennifer by customizing her cars a few times. I'm might have gone a little bit too big for her taste, but she's got a new truck, and I'm ready to try one more time.
Did you steal the wife's car?
Yeah. I just, I want to surprise her. I want to do a couple things to it. She calls it Betty, so I want to get Betty hooked up.
So is this going to be a little surprise or one of your SEMA take her car or taking the SEMA 2-week surprises?
And then I was like, I'll just take it to the shop and fix a little dent on the back. And 2 weeks later, it was in Vegas at the SEMA show, totally repainted, full interior stereo. She wasn't too happy. Couldn't haul groceries in the back anymore, but I think we got to get it down on the ground.
I knew that. I knew it before you said it. I knew exactly what you were going to say.
I mean, look at that fender well gap there, man. That's way, way, way too big, right? We'll drop it down probably about 6 inches, just a little bit, about 6 inches. Fill that up with a nice big wheel and tire. And, we just can't have a 22, 24. We got to have a big wheel and tire, right?
Something to separate it from the rest, but still make it drivable. They didn't even have a kit to lower this?
Man, that's what we do. So we got an empty rack. We'll just pull it in, pull the wheels off, see what happens. I mean, we might even get it on there and just decide just to put air suspension on it and get it down really, really low.
That's the bill, I know. I don't know of a better way to say I love you and thank you than dropping her new Escalade to the ground, put some big wheels on it, and making her stand out.
That's an extensive way, right?
Yeah.
Good looking stance with the right wheel and tire, it just gives it that attitude, that aggressive classiness. Set her apart from, all the other soccer moms, and it feels special the whole time she's driving it. It won't be another one like it. She works hard every day, pretty much takes care of the kids because we always work late, getting home late. We want to get her hooked up.
It definitely takes a lot to put up with what we do. It's a good call.
Yeah, she's been needing a little surprise lately.
She married you, she has to like surprises.
So what are we doing to Mom's truck? We're going to lift it really high. Just big 44s on it. Make it real easy for her to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
She'll love it. No, I want to give her something that's cool, right? Back since the beginning of Extensive, I've always kind of experimented with my wife Jennifer's cars.
So is this going to be like Mom's last car? Or last surprise?
No. I don't know what we're going to do yet. See how difficult this is. This is all new platform underneath. I heard it's independent rear suspension now, so we're about to find out. With her 2021 Escalade, I want it to be custom and cool. But, maybe just a little more understated than I have in the past. Me and Jennifer have been together since before the beginning of Extensive Metal Works, so she's been around the car game just as long as I have. As soon as Jennifer gets this back, she sees all the time and effort we put into it, how cool it looks. That's definitely going to put a smile on her face. On the 2021 Escalade, it's been totally redesigned. This is 100% brand new, top to bottom, and it's unfamiliar territory for us. It's crazy how much cars have come in the last 5 years, 10 years, but that's part of it. This is definitely a learning experience, and you grow with the technology in a car, advancing with it every year. We want to stay up with the latest and greatest and be ahead of the curve.
What'd you figure out?
Just lowering springs, we got to change that out. We'll put new coils on it so it just drops it down, gets rid of that big fender well gap, with a nice wheel and tire. It's going to fill all that up and keep it all black too. Yeah, that's going to set the whole aggressive tone to it, right? And speaking of tone, muffler, you got to change that tone too. It's a 6.2 in this, and you can't really tell it any different from a Tahoe that's got a 5.3 in it. So there's restrictors and opens it up a little bit. You got to make it look good, got to make it sound good, and you got to make it run good. We need the Pro Charger.
Y'all are definitely two peas in a pod. Both of y'all want to go fast.
There's nothing available for this. It's so new, so Justin will have to build whatever it needs in these little steps. Can't have the pontoon look, right? We got to get rid of those. Put the retractable steps on so it looks nice, clean, streamlined, low to the ground.
Man, I'm not going to lie. When you first told me you're going to surprise her, I was a little nervous myself because I've been a couple of these surprises and they go off the charts sometimes.
You know, most of the time I would really go for the full air suspension, lay it on the ground. But, you know, I want to make something that's perfect for her. So I have Tim and Dave changing out the springs.
First thing we're going to do the Escalade is get the stance right. We're going to take the struts out, put new springs on this thing. When we put it back together, it's going to lower the vehicle but still give you the same ride. So this basically holds the truck up in the air, and the shock dampens it. So when you hit a bump, it doesn't keep bouncing. By getting a new cool spring that's a little bit lower, it's going to lower this down to say right about here somewhere. It should be about 1.5 to 2 inches lower.
What we're going to be doing is if you don't have this specialty tool, you should probably not try and do this at all. It's pretty dangerous, you know, to be messing with something that's compressed and has a lot of pressure in it. We'll be able to loosen this nut up here and remove the shock. So the only thing we're going to be changing out is the spring to lower the ride height. We will reuse this and the boot. The only thing aftermarket should be just the spring.
Lowering springs for you, sir. You should bring it down a little bit, tighten up that wheel gap, make it sit right.
Now we gotta work on it.
Yeah, you do.
Later, buddy. Later, bud. Want to make it a little more sporty, bring it down just a little bit, but not enough that every time she goes over something, she's got to hit a bump or she's got to worry about rubbing it off. Now we have all the springs mounted. We're going to bolt them on the truck. One step closer.
And it's in bad a shape as we thought. Before the body shop guys get their hands full with the body, the owner wants us to get it all the way on the ground with a full custom air suspension. You know, it's part of the surprise for his dad. You know, it's exciting to get a new project in, a new frame started, and just to build somebody's dreams. Everything to start starts with the frame. Let's see what we got here. 32. It's on the money. You know, it brings you back to being a little kid and building that first little model. I mean, that's basically what we do every day. Get to bring back our childhood memories of building all that cool stuff, but now we get to do it for real. We got our measurements here, 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 and that'll do it. So I got all the measurements I need. I'm going to transfer them right on a drawing that we have on the table. You can see actually in real time how the frame's going to look. And so there's no mistakes on mismeasuring. We're going to go right off our templates, transfer them right to the saw, start chopping, start putting together. Got it, man. That's all laid out.
You know what the thing looks like? 46-4 frame. Rule of thumb here is cut everything in twos, two sides of the frame. So we're going to make two cuts same time, so they're exactly the same. I guess the difference between building a custom frame and an OEM frame would be you could put things in different places for clearance issues, and definitely cool factors, you know, to make things different so they're cool. Now I got all the pieces cut and beveled. Now it's time to go ahead and start assembling this frame.
They're looking good, nice, square, level. This thing is going to be right. So now we're off to mocking up the suspension. You know, on the 46 Ford, we're going to build a two-link suspension with air. You know, I prefer a 2-link suspension on a vehicle like this, just because you can, on this, we're shooting for about 11 inches of lift, so you get a lot of lift out of it with a really nice ride quality. And the other advantage of the 2-link is with it bolted super tight with the U-bolts, it doesn't allow it to sway like a 4-link suspension and have to compensate with sway bars. That's why we're going with a 2-link on this versus a 4-link or other types of suspension.
Just trying to make sure the front of the 2 links are even and equal, the same height. So I'm putting my flat bar right here, basically as a leg. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp it, and I'll be able to manipulate this height-wise. I need 9 7/8 on this side, so I'll be able to adjust this up to 9 7/8 on this side. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of looking across everything, make sure everything's parallel, everything's even. But taking all this time to do all that, I'll pay off in the end because everything will be perfect. Everything's going to be straight and true. That's exactly what we're looking for.
As big as a frame build is, the interior in the coupe is non-existent. So John's starting from less than 0.
Yes, this car has absolutely no interior in it. I think when it came in, it had a folding chair maybe in it. That's actually kind of the fun of this. It is, with it being a blank canvas, there's nothing there that dictates what it has gone, so we get to pick where everything's at and place things where we want it and do our own design in it. I've got a template for my kick panel, a template for the door panel, and for the rear quarter panel. Everything's marked off where they line up together in the car so that everything has the same height that I need, so I can sketch this out to get all my patterns laid out so that everything will fit. Bill's thought and his idea is he wants Dad to get in his car and sit down and feel like he's still in his old hot rod. He doesn't want anything too new and too outlandish in this. He wants nice, clean, subtle lines in this. We want to get this thing just a nice, clean, classy feel so when he sits in it, he can feel like he's back in the old days. It's kind of one of those great things working around here. A lot of times we're just given free will to do whatever we want, so to be able to sit down and think it out and dream up something just different than everybody else's is really what makes this job so much fun. All the way from the beginning aspect, all the way to the headaches that you have, all the way to the end of it until it's finished. Every bit of it makes it fun because you get to design everything from your own ideas and your own perspectives. Erase, delete. Good thing about these sketches, it's all fluid, so it's constantly changing, so you're never stuck to one thing if you got an eraser. And that's going to be a tall ridge here. So this is our insert fabric that we're going to use just for our accent color. That's going to be going here in our doors and also here. Plus we'll have it worked into the seats, so it's just that little extra pop just so it's not all the same fabric in the whole car. So now it's time to bring Blue Thunder back to life.
We got the stance on my wife's 21 Escalade just right. Now I want to give it a better overall tone.
Bill wants to get rid of this stock muffler. It works from the factory. Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. It doesn't have the rumble he's looking for. The record. You know, this new muffler flows a lot better than the factory does. You get a little throatier sound. Jennifer's going to love it. So what school teacher wouldn't love pulling up your parking lot a hot rod sounding Escalade? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and tack this first one. That way I can make sure it's square with the frame this way. And then I'll know, not only do I need this to go over, I also need it to come down. So it's got to be like a 45 down and 45 over to one direction. Basically what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out a little jig so I know how to bend it. So I don't have to make 52 trips to the truck and back. I can just make me a little deal here. So I measure from this line down is 2 inches. So if I take 2 inches out of this right here, it should give me exactly what I need. According to the jig, this should flow exactly where I need it. Give me an exact angle this way and this way. When it fits good, now I do is weld it up, Bill's wife's got a brand new sports car sounding Escalade.
My wife's a little like me. She likes to give her vehicles a little extra horsepower. So I asked Justin to add a Pro Charger. Because this truck is so new, he's going to have to figure out the whole setup.
It's pretty neat that we're going to be the first ones to have a Pro Charge 2021 Escalade. Like, nobody's worked on one of these. Like, they don't make a kit out for it yet, so we're going to come up with we should see anywhere between 150 to 200 extra rear wheel horsepower on this thing once we get it tuned. We're going to try to squeeze the intercooler through here without removing the grill. So this one here is their what you would call like a stage 2 intercooler. So if you look at the thickness of the core, it's about a ½ inch wider than the one that would come in your base model kit. This one here is going to provide a lot better cooling for the extra air we're about to shove in this motor. We're running into clearance issues, these air louvers right here. So since it's such a large intercooler and such a tight space, to be on the safe side, instead of trying to force it in there, we're going to go ahead and remove the bumper and remove the support so that we can just drop it right into place. With this being a 2021, it's the first time pulling one of these bumpers off, so it can be a little time consuming. You know, you don't want to get in a hurry. You want to make sure that, you know, you get all the hardware out. You know, it's easy to, you know, miss a bolt here and there. And the last thing you want to do is piss off Bill's wife. So we need to make sure that we take our time and do it right the first time. There we go.
Just to fit the brackets on the supercharger. It's taking a bit more work, but it'll all be worth it in the end.
So that's what happens when you're dealing with a new vehicle. Something, you know, seems as simple as taking a bumper off can eat up most of your time. So this here is our supercharger. It's the P1X, their high output version. So now that we have the blower installed, all we gotta do is connect from our blower to our intercooler, from our intercooler to our throttle body. So the reason we use the rubber couplers instead of everything hardline is because you have vibrations of the motor, and whenever it torques over, it'll want to move. So you need to have movement. So that's why we're going with all these rubber couplers. So right now we're putting the belt on. We're trying to adjust the tensioner to make sure that we have the most amount of tension, but also where the tensioner is within range, because you don't want it maxed out where it's too tight, where the tensioner is not doing its job, and at the same time you don't want it too loose. So we're just fine tuning it right now to make sure we have it set right. Next step is to get our fan shroud back in. Once our fan shroud goes back in, then we get to start doing some of the custom piping and getting this thing wrapped up.
We have the rear suspension on the coupe all mocked up. Now we can make the custom bag mounts.
Let's block it back up. Even something just as simple as a gusset for the upper bag mount. I mean, somebody just looking at it just looks like a piece of pipe, but you got to take into consideration where the shock's going to be, where the differential's going to be, where the air fitting's going to be. You want to make sure it's right. You want to take your time to notch it right, cope it right, sand it right, and attach it right. Done, dilly.
On this particular chassis, we're going to use a diagonal link, which mounts the fixed point of the frame over to the moving part of the suspension itself, and it keeps everything 100% true all the way up, all the way down. There's no deflection of that whatsoever. We're able to build that into this suspension because there's nothing in the way. A lot of the times there'll be a gas tank in the way or exhaust in the way, or a lot of things could be in the way once you're building a suspension around something that's already there. The advantage of this is it's going to stay nice, true, straight up and down, and perfect. Back in 46, these coupes didn't have much of a speaker system, so John's going to bring the audio into this century, but he's also going to keep it with his classic look.
It didn't have subwoofers in 46, so
What we're going to do is actually take and disguise that subwoofer. So basically, when you pop the trunk and look in, all you'll see sitting there is a suitcase and think it's a piece of luggage. You'll never even know that it's a subwoofer. For the corners of the suitcase, I want them to be rounded. So in order to do that, I'm going to take the PVC and cut it into quarters. That way I can use those as the corners of the box and then just glass them from the inside. It's kind of like making oatmeal. Put a little water in your bowl, put a little bit of oatmeal in there, stir it up. You don't want your oatmeal too lumpy. Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. All we're doing with this is just reinforcing our PVC corners. So the first step we're going to take to make this thing look like a suitcase, we're going to use a scoop bit. We're going to run around the outside edge of the top, a little bit on the bottom, nice rounded over corner, we can do the body work. Take this fiberglass filler here, hit my outside corners, get them smoothed in. Just got to give these corners a little bit of love, get them good round and smooth. Next thing we'll do, cut some lines in this, put some grooves in it. Don't mess it up. Really got to take our time to make sure we don't screw this up. And it could turn into a whole remake, and ain't nobody got time for that. I have confidence in myself. Oh God, I moved it. We'll also have to add a groove to the top edge and the bottom edge for all the material to roll into. So we're just going to take and work our way around the box, rolling it and flipping it to get our groove in it. All right, now we've got all the grooves cut in it. This thing's really starting to look like a suitcase. So the next thing I gotta do, just sit down, do a little bit of detail sanding on it. This thing will be ready to wrap.
We fabricated the custom frame and suspension for the 46 Ford on the table. Now it's time to get it up underneath the body. Thunder's coming along. I mean, it's really starting to take shape. We got all the old yuckiness out. So from the firewall back, 100% true square straight. But I found the easiest way to build chassis like this is locating the front cross member. Once that's located, you know the height you want, that locates our wheelbase. 141 3/4 or 16 too far. Hammer's right there. That's it. So we have this dead center of the fender wells. Now that we have our front end on, we know where that center is. Next step is just connecting the cross member all the way down the frame. This car is going to run unbelievable, ride really good, and really low. It's at the perfect stage to really start creating. We know exactly what we need to install the Pro Charger. But with the 21 Escalade being so new, Justin has to reinvent the entire wheel on this one.
So with the supercharger, we're gonna have pressure inside the pipe, and the last thing we wanna do is we're putting a bead roll on the end of the pipe so that the silicone coupler, whenever we clamp it, doesn't wanna slide off under boost. This is the flange for the blow-off valve. Typically, it would tie back into the inlet pipe to the supercharger. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna vent it to the atmosphere so we got that cool swishing sound. Now we got our 3.5-inch aluminum prep. We got our hole drill for our mass airflow sensor flange. The mass air and the O2 sensors work together, so if we dump off any air to the atmosphere, throw off our O2 sensors and the computer won't read right. So now that we have our blow-off valve flange on, our mass air flange on, and our extension piece that goes into our coupler, now we can go install it on the vehicle. We can go ahead and pre-install our new blow-off valve. They actually sound better on supercharged cars. Whereas on a turbo car, they only open up under like acceleration. On a supercharged car, it's the opposite. It's open all the time until you give it gas, and then it'll close. And that's how you kind of hear more of that swishing sound. So now that we got the flange welded on, we got the 2 screws to hold in our sensor into our piping, just like we wanted. we can install our charge pipe and put some clamps on it. Life's definitely gonna have the fastest SUV in the faculty parking lot now.
The best days at work are always with a dog. If I do set up a table for me, and this guy happens to use it for a bed, I'll put my stuff on the floor. You should just lay there and do nothing. I gotta go work. Look at this 2021 Escalade in the shop. It's already a good looking truck. It was good looking off the factory floor. But Bill being Bill, it always needs something. These steps just aren't gonna cut it. So he wants a retractable step. When you open the door, it folds down. When you shut the door, this will tuck back up, fold away, and you'll never see the step at all. It's gonna make it look sleek, and it gives it a custom touch. First step we're gonna do, just unbolt the old step, take it completely off, get it out of the way, and then we'll start with the new one. This motor here will go to a door pan. When the door opens, it lets us know this needs to come down. When the door shuts, it retracts this back up. See how hands-on my helper is? That's a good helper right there. The new plastics have a little indentation right here, so when this folds up, it tucks right in tight and it makes it disappear. Now we have the plastics on there that allow the step to go up and it'll fold right with the new plastic. It looks better, it functions better, and it's easier for little ones or old ones to get in and out.
You know, I'd be lying if I wasn't a little nervous to see what Jennifer thinks. But I think this time, we nailed it. You know, her Escalade's still classy, but custom, just the way she likes it. You know, well, I hope. As you know, I got a long history of customizing cars, and something you might not know, I have a long history of customizing my wife's cars too. The thing I got her was a Cadillac SRX. Took it to the Las Vegas SEMA show and killed it. The bad part about it was getting it home, but it had so many speakers, there was no place to put the groceries, so she hated it. Every time I cut into one of my wife's cars, I always have the best intentions. I always want riding around in. You know, that's the feeling I get when I drive around in a cool car. I want her to have that same feeling. And my wife driving a totally bone stock car, it hurts. It hurts seeing that. It's kind of like, you know, if I was a roofer, my roof was leaking, that's something you just can't have. You know, I've been known to maybe go a little overboard here and there, but you know, one of these days I'm gonna come up with that perfect combination for her that she's just gonna totally love. Thank you for lunch.
No problem.
Thank you. Hey, I want to tell you something. Remember, you know, I took the Cadillac in, had a recall, and I took it from you. It didn't really have a recall. I want to surprise you with something special. So I took Betty and I've done a couple things to her to make her stand out.
Like?
Well, you're about to see. You ready? You excited?
No.
Timmy's gonna bring it around right now.
This is not the first time that Bill's taken one of my cars. We've had some cars where he has taken them and he's done things to them and they have not turned out well. That's a little stressful for me. Okay, so not so bad. I'm very proud. I appreciate you listening. It looks awesome.
Surprise!
Yeah, no. Beautiful.
Are you pleasantly surprised?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Thank you. I'm pleasantly surprised. She looks beautiful.
So I did good?
So far. I don't know. There might be more. I don't know. From what I can see right here, yes.
There's a little more.
She rides the same.
Better. You know, the first thing you notice when coming down the road, you know, Betty just looked way too tall. So what we had to do is get it in the shop and we changed out the springs. You know, took it all apart, took the cool springs out and replaced it with the shorter spring to give it that low stance, to get rid of that fender well gap. And I mean, you got it all blacked out already. You had to have the black wheels.
Of course. No, if I had to pick wheels, that would be something that I would pick. They're very clean, very pretty, very nice.
Yeah. And it's still going to retain that factory Cadillac ride.
Classy. Oh, the runners. Oh, I knew you were going to do that. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Can't have that old pontoon look. Just to give it that clean, streamlined look.
I'm gonna cry.
You know, after 28 years together, you know, every once in a while you got to show your appreciation, right? And you show your appreciation in giving your wife something really cool to drive.
You did good. You did good. I will never say it again.
I was surprised as you were when Bill said, nope, we're going to go just a couple mods on this one.
They haven't always turned out as well.
Let's check out under the hood. I got a little surprise under there for you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know, they don't make a kit for this. So Justin adapted everything and made the whole ProCharger work on this.
So all this is custom.
Yep. Every bit. It runs real good.
It's very nice.
You're about 620 horsepower now. So Betty is going to get it. You're definitely going to make up some time and have plenty of extra leisure time now.
Cool.
I knew you were going to love it.
Yep, it's awesome. It sounded pretty.
Yeah, it sounds good. It had a little whistle to it. You needed that. Just way too quiet from the factory. I mean, looking at it, it's got to have a little deeper tone to the exhaust, so you get that whole attitude. When you roll up...
Oh, she's definitely going to draw some attention.
Most definitely.
It's nice.
I'm glad you like it. I think we did good. If she was making this car herself, I think we gave her exactly what she...
This is really nice. You did a great job, and I'm very flattered. And all the other teachers are going to be really jealous. Beautiful.
Just like you.
Oh, my gosh.
Is a 2017 F-150 pull-out with this engine. The 5.0 Coyote is a great platform for making a lot of power. We're going to change a couple things. We're going to change intake, put headers on it, and with the tune and E85, it should make about an extra 100 rear-wheel horsepower. So this thing's going to make plenty of power for old Coop. How do you start stretching every day, all day? On the really big jobs like the 46 Coupe, you just know it's going to be a marathon.
Ow. So we're stripping down the engine, taking all the old stuff off, stuff we're not going to use.
Every step you take, there's 100 more to go. We like to recycle. Just like going to pick up old dogs, we get old motors. We got a good steering. Next step's finishing up the front suspension. Keep going on the bodywork and make that interior all from scratch. But man, once Ryan's dad sees Old Blue Thunder, this is